minus Liz.
Yes, Liz is feeling under the weather right now.
Little under the weather.
No COVID or nothing. She's just, battling head cold. Seasons are changing and whatnot.
Well, you got the dynamic duo.
Yes.
And we're coming at you guys with something that we saw while we were doing the documentary. Since we want to wait for Liz to continue that.
Yeah.
So hopefully next week you guys will be getting the continued part 3 of that. But today, hopefully this doesn't turn into a multi thing.
Yeah.
But this is the Dave Rubin Larry Elder interview that we saw the snippet of in the documentary.
Yeah, we saw that little piece when they were chilling and talking. Yeah, we saw this little piece.
So Ian and I figured we'd check this out today.
Yeah, why not?
So are you ready?
Let me see how I'm sheepling over here.
I'm going to say right now, Dave Rubin is considered by most people, he isn't, but they call him a conservative. He's actually, and especially at this time, he was on the left.
Okay.
Very, very liberal at the time.
So he's transitioned.
Yeah, he considers himself mostly center right now.
Center right.
He's what I would consider a moderate.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to be like neutral.
Yes. More. He's also gay, which has no bear. I love watching his videos. But
okay, cool, yeah.
He just got 2 sons too.
Oh, nice, dog. That's what's up. Yep. That's what's up.
He's got a 10-week-old and I think a 12-day-old now.
Damn.
Him and his husband just adopted 2 sons.
Oh, congrats.
So,
congrats. Give some people some home.
So, Dave, if you see this, Rubin, congratulations, brother, on the sons.
Yeah, for real, yeah.
Justin and Lucas, I believe, are the sons.
Nice.
Yes, I watch his content. I like Dave Rubin.
Nice.
So, him being gay has nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah,
I want you to know his background.
Gave 2 people a home. That's what's up.
Exactly. 2 newborn babies.
Yeah.
So, proud papa.
Hey, handle your business, family people.
This was 6 years ago.
Okay, yeah, I saw, in the 6 years, description.
Before the Democratic Party went nuts.
Okay, gotcha.
So, pretty much, he didn't lead the Democratic Party. It's like most people on the left, the Democratic Party has left them.
Okay.
And it's him waking up in real time in this video, just so you explain. Do you know who Larry Elder is?
Yeah, he was the guy who Candace Owens said she considers him a mentor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know if you know anything before that about him.
I think I've heard the name before when I was younger, like a few years back. But
he was the guy that
he
was running for the governor of California, where the lady chased him down with the gorilla costume, was throwing bananas at him, and the media decided to call him the blackface to white supremacy.
Wait. Who's the woman chasing?
Some white woman in a gorilla costume was throwing bananas at Larry Elder.
Like, was this running down the street?
Yeah. While he was doing a news interview. Media didn't call that racist at all, and called him the blackface of white supremacy.
I guess we can't always get it right.
Now,
I guess we can't always get it right, Vito.
Larry Elder, in my opinion, is a brilliant man. Probably somebody who most people should know about.
Okay.
Up there with Thomas Sowell.
Okay.
And it's intelligent man.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, without further ado,
that's
a long intro. You guys probably already know where I stand on things. It's going to be fun to watch where this conversation goes with Ian.
Yeah.
Ian learned a lot. Because
again,
Ian and I are very, very far apart politically.
Yeah.
On a lot of things, but we agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
We can have heated discussions, but...
Me and Vito just don't like bullshit, man.
No.
We
come to the table with facts and we change our opinions based on the facts that are presented to us.
No, but I'm all for, I take life a day at a time, man.
Exactly.
That's all I can really do.
All you can do is ask questions and receive answers.
Yeah, I don't got all the answers. Never will claim
and you might not like the answers that you're getting.
Yeah, I'm just human. What more can I do?
But I hope you guys are ready to go on this journey with us.
Oh yeah, let's see how we've been sheepled.
Hit that play button, Ian. Let's get this started.
Bam.
We spent a lot of time talking about the left around here, but this week we're going to be diving into the right. My guest is conservative radio talk show host, lawyer, and writer Larry Elder. Larry has written several books on conservative principles with a focus on government and racial issues. Much of his work is very similar, actually, to the ideas we talk about here on the Rubin Report, including religion, the role of government, and personal responsibility. According to his biography, Larry uses facts and common sense to arrive at his conclusions. That sounds familiar, right?
So sounds like somebody you could get along with.
What's common sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Most
people don't know what it is.
Like, at this point, it's scary that that's a reasonable question.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But so far, it sounds like somebody you'd like to sit down and have a conversation with.
yeah, facts and common sense. Yeah, I can't really argue that. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to be reasonable,
Yeah.
come with points, and he's not going to deal with bullshit.
yeah, and you're not going to get threatened to be hurt if you disagree with someone's.
No, but you better be able to back up your points, not talk around it in fantasy ways.
That happens to me sometimes. Honestly, like sometimes I'll see something I'm so passionate about, and then I'll say like something out loud, and then I'll think about it like a day later, and be like,
That didn't make too much
that
sense.
didn't make too much sense. But
No.
but that, also, I think that's a big part of being human.
But also, sometimes, without even realizing it, our main defense point, we want to go to the almost extreme point to prove our point.
Yeah,
Where
I think that's just a natural.
It is a
human.
natural thing, but we have to also realize the most extreme case is just that. It's an extreme case, and it's probably 0.01% of all cases in most instances. So going to the ultimate extreme to make a point right away usually fails every time. Because it's easily countered.
I can see what you mean. I can see what you mean by that.
But most of us always all fall into that trap where we want to go to the extreme point to prove our point.
I've done that. I've been.
Oh, we all.
I've been there.
It's
I
finding.
can't hide that one.
But it's also how I've easily countered you most of the times too. To be fair, most of the time that's how I'm easily countering you on most of the points.
That's true.
Because you like to go to the most extreme.
So it to me it just depends on the topic. Sometimes I'll just get really passionate about something, and then I just realize an idea doesn't work. So then you gotta keep moving to the next. You know?
Which is good. That's how Ian and I always come to conclusions on ours.
I mean, evolution of a human is important. You know, gotta like evolve.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Right? Now, if I use those same precepts as a liberal, can we both be right at the same time? Can we both be wrong? Is the answer somewhere in the middle? Well, that's exactly what we're going to try to find out. As I discussed with Don Lemon.
See that? He thought he had the same mindset as him. And he's like, how can we be so different on ideas if we think the same? So that's where he stands going into this conversation.
okay.
Remember that.
Okay. How can we both be so different if we think the same?
Exactly. With reason and facts based in our foundation.
That's a fair assessment. All right.
The very fact that he had Larry Elder on this show, the left villainized him back then. They attacked him, and they couldn't believe that he would even talk to somebody on the right.
I mean, that's kind of the poor. Like,
Exactly.
That's like I hate when I'll use the United States Congress as an example. You get like each side gets mad at like the Democrats will get mad. The Democratic Party will get mad at a Democratic politician trying to reach out to
The Republican.
to the Republican Party, and then the Republican Party will get mad at a Republican politician trying to reach out to it. But I'm like,
And that's one of the problems.
and I'm like, your job is to work together. Like, why are you getting mad at the person doing their job description?
Exactly.
Like,
And again, you're not supposed to be working for your party. You're supposed to be working for the
constituents. Constituents, yeah.
Yes.
Like the people you represent.
Yeah, the people that sent you to work with the other people.
So like,
You're supposed to be on their behalf.
I
not
never
your
understood that.
beliefs.
So it's like your little job description is to work together.
Exactly. I never got
I never got that. Like I don't get why. Oh, you talk to a Democrat. It's in the job description.
Which is why back in the day you had to have super majorities to pass stuff, not just on a 51 to 50 vote, 49 vote.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Because you had to work with the other side to be able to have enough votes to get something through, not just to be able to ram through things on a one-way vote.
Okay. Okay.
You see how that makes more sense now? Where you have to have 2/3
Like the majority
of the house. Like it should be not. You don't need 50%. You don't need 51% to pass something. You should need 63% to pass something. 63% of the House should be in agreement on something to pass into the Senate to be voted on to for law, to get to the president's desk, in my opinion. Because that's forcing both sides to work together whether they like it or not. Or go campaign in the districts and get enough people to own 62% of the House.
Huh.
How interesting would it be
Okay.
if we actually forced them to work together? Not just have majority rules. A super majority should rule.
Oh man.
So majority still rules, but it's a super majority.
The amount of complaining that would start in the process. Oh.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have debate.
You're supposed to, yeah.
You would have so much more conversations, and we would not be in this volatile situation.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're forcing them to work
God,
together.
man, the way it goes now, it's good Lord.
And then we get stupid things rammed down on a party vote that most people don't even want. It's just because it's what the party wanted, not the people.
Yeah,
we shouldn't be passing laws for a party. We should be passing it for business.
Honestly, my thing is it goes for either side. If you're only a Democrat to support the Democratic party, or if you're only a Republican to support the party, you don't really need to be a politician.
I support the party that represents my beliefs, and over the years it's ebbed and flowed. And right now, as you've said over multiple times, there ain't nobody on the left that is even considered.
Right now, I don't see one. I really don't. That's just my. And it's not like y'all got like 4 years. 2024 ain't that far.
The funny thing is, the only person they had that was kind of decent left was Tulsi Gabbard, and she just like, bye.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, I can't do this no more. I'm out, y'all.
Because like, 2 years goes by
like that.
Quick.
Oh yeah.
Y'all think 2 years? Oh, we got 2 years to. Nah, you gonna snap? You gonna wake up? It's gonna be 2024.
Yep.
Like y'all need to get shit together, man. For real.
But let's get to this.
Yeah.
Last week, the media talks so much about the left-right divide in this country that it's easy to forget that there are decent people on both sides of the debate. This is one of the reasons I've taken the left to task so much on this show. The further off the deep end they go, the less we'll be able to find compromise with people we disagree with.
And remember,
just because
he's saying this 6 years ago, look where we are now. How much further has the left gone off the deep end?
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
I may have different views on abortion than Republicans doesn't mean that they hate all women. Just because I may have different views than Republicans on guns doesn't mean that they're a bunch of rednecks. And just because Republicans aren't for legalizing marijuana doesn't mean they aren't fun to hang out with. All right, well, that one might
legalize
be true,
that shit, but okay.
Maybe the best way to start a conversation about political ideology is to actually define the terms. This is something I've done with a few guests so far because I often think we're all talking about different things while using the same words. Fear not, I have Google, and according to the Oxford Dictionary, here's the definition of conservatism. Conservatism is the holding of conservative principles, the tendency to resist great or sudden change, especially in politics, adherence to traditional values and ideas, sometimes opposed to liberalism. All right, so I think we have a nice jumping off point there. Basically, conservatives aren't big on change, and when they are, they want to go about it slowly. I think this concept has been conflated with the concept of right-wing
Which makes sense, because you want to make sure it's working, not just all at once.
This is the part that I struggle with the definition. Where the fuck that definition go? Okay. I can understand the tendency to resist great or sudden change, especially in politics, adherence to traditional values and ideas, sometimes opposed. I can understand that. Mm-hmm. The thing that like confuses me with conservatism is when people say, "Oh, I'm a conservative. I believe in conservative principles." Mm-hmm. What principle?
Traditional family values, staying, small government. Not having government rule your life, being in control of what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Every time I see somebody say, "Oh, I believe in conservative principles,"
keeping government out of your life.
What principles? Oh, being a conservative. Tell them damn principle.
Yeah,
like
pretty much small government, meaning government doing basically only what it's supposed to do, protecting our borders and defending us if there's a thing, and keeping up our bridges and highways.
Now, thank you. Thank you. How hard is it? Like, damn.
That's why people call me a conservative.
Like,
I have conservative values.
Shit.
That doesn't mean I'm completely conservative. Because there's a lot of people on the right I really don't agree with either. Like Mitt Romney, for instance, I don't agree with him at all.
Like Jesus. Like how? But like for me, do I think the government should be all up in your business? Hell no. I ain't for that.
Nope.
Like, mind your business. Shoo. Just, protect the border and make sure there's no, bomb threats or nothing coming up in here.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
mind your business.
And I'm sure you like driving on the bridges and highways.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't need you all up in my life.
Is sometimes opposed to liberalism. All right,
Okay.
so I think we have a nice jumping off point there. Basically, conservatives aren't big on change, and when they are, they want to go about it slowly. I think this...
That's the key word, change. I think that is a key word to focus on in here. Because...
It depends on how you want to change. If you're going to change things to make my life worse, of course I don't want to do that. That's why you do things slowly, to make sure it's going to work. If it's going to make everybody's life better, then of course we're going to be all for it. But if you're going to be hurting and damaging people's life along the way and closing people's businesses and damaging... Hell no, we ain't going to want to do that.
I can understand your viewpoint there. A gradual, slow change to get people comfortable with it.
Well, it's not even to get comfortable with it. It's to make sure it's working.
Oh, yeah, that's a better word. That's a better word. That's a better word.
Because if it's not working...
To make sure
doesn't mean I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, to make sure it's effective. That's actually a better word. That's
Why
a better
would you
word.
want to rush into something and then watch it all burn to the ground?
That's effective. Effective is a better. My thing that I get confused with people, that I think people get confused with, I just don't want, everything's changing. To me, that you got to get used to that.
So sometimes change is good.
Yeah.
But not rapid, sudden change.
I can understand that. Because
not all change is good.
Because if you really think about it, every 10 years, there's a big societal change. Every decade.
Of course.
You can't, there's nothing until you learn to stop time.
Well, the internet's made it faster, actually.
Yeah, that's the only thing. The internet has just made it faster. But until you can effectively just halt time and everybody freezing, you stop saying, oh, there's too much change. I'm sorry. Some shit you just got,
Yes.
curveballs are going to get thrown.
Yeah, but what thing doesn't need to happen? We don't need to be changing our Constitution.
No,
They want to do away with the Constitution.
But I will say this: the way we socialize with each other is going to change in another 10 years.
Oh, it's already changed.
Yeah, that's going to change every generation. The way teenagers act, the way people parent, the way people interact with each other, that's going to change in another 10 years.
Honestly, you're right, and I think we're going to be swinging back towards conversation and actually hanging out with people again, not this divide that we have now. Because the only thing that we can do is come together, or this country.
Yeah, because I see what you mean. I see what you mean by that.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
Concept has been conflated with the concept of right-wing politics, so I even Googled that. According to the concise Oxford Dictionary of Politics, in liberal democracies, the political right opposes socialism and social democracy. Right-wing parties include conservatives, Christian Democrats, classic liberals, nationalists, and the far right, racists and fascists. You can see how these two concepts have morphed into the Republican Party in America. We have an ideology that doesn't want to change the system too quickly, coupled with a political affiliation that is focused on economics and some level of moral authority. Interestingly, classical liberals are also included in that group, and the more and more I've been talking about this stuff, the more I've been considering myself in that.
I see what you mean. Okay.
You can still be on the left and have conservative values.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, I 100% agree with that.
So many people think that just because you can say you're conservative doesn't mean you can't have conservative liberal values.
The same thing that happened to the Black Lives Matter movement is what happened to the left and the right.
Oh, of course.
You had asshole people who hijacked everything.
So now everybody assumes you're either far right or far left.
It's like just because someone says they're more conservative, everyone automatically assumes, oh, they don't like gay people. That's not necessarily true.
We need to get to the point where we just say where it is. You're either pro-America or against America. We're not. We need honestly, we need to stop with this Republican Democrat bullshit because it's either for America or against America.
I'm honestly tired of it.
Because that's where we're at right now.
I'm honestly tired.
You either are pro for what this country is and stands for, or you want to tear down and rebuild what this country is. That's honestly where we're at right now. There is no more Republican Democrat Party. Let's stop this shit. Can we just stop this shit?
Please, yo, amen. I'm so sick of this party shit.
So right now,
I'm so sick of it.
You need to honestly stop looking at whether there's a DNR next to people's name and actually see and look at what they stand for, what they're running on, and what they're doing.
Bro, 9 times out of 10, don't get me wrong, I like being up to date with social shit. I do. But
sometimes it's so fucking depressing.
You can ask Vito. I like living the stuff. Vito will tell me some shit that just happened like a yesterday, and I won't even have freaking known about. I can't watch the news anymore, dude. I can't do it. Yeah. Because everyone just talks in a circle around each other, and no one moves forward a directional conversation.
That's what they want you to do. They want everybody.
Oh my God.
They want everybody chasing their tails, not being able to move forward. Because hey, if we're all confused and going at each other, we're not watching them.
Like honestly, it's like Vito's like honestly, this is my news sometimes. You know, like I can't do it. Like.
And honestly, he doesn't just take me at what I say. I usually come and bring videos and we watch stuff.
And don't tell me, we gotta watch CNN. But all the major news networks do it.
No, it don't matter.
Everyone just talks in a freaking circle.
It don't matter if it's Fox, CBS, MSNBC.
I can't watch any of them anymore. I can't. No. And don't get me wrong. I used to scroll through hours of I would switch between Fox, CNN, MSNBC. I can't do it anymore. I don't got the patience for it. Because I get mad. I find myself getting mad at the TV. And it's like, shit. It's not good. It's not good for your mental health to just be reading this, watching this shit all day.
It's really not.
It's not.
It get depressing, especially with how divided certain people are. Because so many people are either on team blue or team red.
My!
You got to stop with this party shit.
And it's getting to the point where you can scroll on the internet. You can see somebody's post. Like, we live on the East Coast. I can see somebody's post who lives on the other side of the United States, and you can just tell you've been on the internet way too long.
Yep.
Get a life.
Yep.
Go to work, take care of your kids, prioritize your, like, some of y'all just sit on the internet all damn day. And it really shows. Like,
see, I can't wait for this conversation to start because Larry Elder knows his shit.
Yep. Okay.
You can't catch this guy napping. Honestly, you ain't gonna
we ain't sleeping.
You ain't catching.
You gotta wake up.
Category.
He's a brilliant mind, just like Thomas Sowell. Another
now that we've laid out some basic terms, I think we have a solid jumping off point to discuss all the issues of the day. From abortion to economics to foreign policy to guns, can we find out where we agree instead of just yelling over each other? I think we can, but the only way is to be brave.
And that needs to be done more.
Instead of yelling,
conversation. Find out where we agree and stop screaming at the top of our lungs about the points we disagree on. We know we don't agree on those things. Stop yelling about it.
Yes.
How about we talk and see what we do agree on?
And you don't gotta whisper. You can make your voice, heard. You know.
Oh, Ian and I have had heated conversations before.
But
I'm shake hands at the end of it.
I'm not over here saying, Vito, if you don't believe in this, I'm gonna get you.
No, it's not like we flipped the table. We're done.
No,
we're very passionate about what we believe in.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've been wrong. A lot of times Ian's been wrong.
Yeah, I'm only a human
being. But again, that's all. A lot of that's because Ian doesn't like to watch as much and keep up as much because it's depressing.
Man, when I get too much, I just go watch sports or listen to music or game or something. I freaking can't do it, man.
Brave enough to talk to those we don't actually agree with. If we refuse to talk to those that we don't see eye to eye with,
you good, Vito?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Burp.
Oh, okay.
We'll just end up taking an eye for an eye.
Okay.
My guest this week is a lawyer, a writer, and host of the aptly named Larry Elder.
Oh, damn, I didn't know Larry Elder was a lawyer. Shit.
Oh,
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I've been trying to make this happen with you for a while.
I've been dodging you forever. Caught up with me.
I got you. You've been in this studio before, right?
I have. I've guest hosted for Larry a couple times.
Larry King, that is.
Larry King.
That's a Larry.
The man.
King.
Yeah.
He has a thing in his contract
for the full hour.
Yeah, he can. He can only have people with the name Larry.
That's right.
Guest host for him. So that worked out for you. So there's a lot of stuff I want want to talk about. And in the beginning of the show, I set up that I am a liberal, you're a conservative.
My condolences.
And,
Jesus
By the time this
Christ.
show's over, we can move you to the center a little bit.
and maybe by the time the show's over, we can.
That's not gonna-
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not gonna happen.
But that's what it's all about. That's why I've wanted to have you on the show, because I find there are some people in the public space.
My condolences.
Honestly, watching this now and seeing where Dave Rubin is now is hilarious because of what's happened.
Oh,
Larry hasn't moved.
I like how
Dave's
Larry
move.
said, my condolences.
But it's funny because if you see
Jeez.
if you actually watch Dave Rubin's content and you knew what he was right now
Yeah.
and saw this, see what he became, watch, you're gonna go down the rabbit hole now watching Dave Rubin content.
All right.
'Cause honestly,
So it's been like a drastic change.
honestly, if you want a dude that is fair and balanced about what is actually going on and read through the bullshit, Dave Rubin's your guy.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. I like that.
Whether you're on the right or you're on the left, if you can withstand actually facts and you don't get your feelings hurt by hearing something that you don't agree with because it's probably against your beliefs, because he's probably more than likely right because of his team that can research and go through things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair.
He's your guy to watch. He actually goes through the bullshit. He's not going to spin shit. He's going to tell you the way it is.
Fair enough.
Him and honestly another guy is Tim Pool.
Hey, I've watched some
Yeah, I
Tim
know.
Pool.
I've showed you his
Yeah,
content.
I watched some Tim Pool.
A dude that is fair and balanced, who again they call conservative, and he is anything but conservative.
Hey, okay.
They call him a conservative commentator, and he's always been a liberal. He came up. He's considered on the right because again the party left him. He hasn't moved. His values haven't moved. The party's beliefs have. They've gotten changed. He still believes the same stuff he believed 10 years ago.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
I see what you mean. Okay.
Honestly, Dave Rubin still believes the same stuff he has. It's the party's beliefs that keep on changing.
Change it. Okay.
People's beliefs aren't really moving that drastically, but the actual party, it's like the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Most of the people believe one thing, but the actual organization is going one way. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You see the comparison?
Yeah. I'm just tired. of the whole black superior. Whenever I see black superior, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
can we chill?
And I know you guys are like, why the hell you keep pausing shit?
Remember, Vito.
Reaction. Relax.
I got an extra muscle,
Yeah, I know.
you know, but can't jump worth a damn. Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna reiterate this one more time. If this is your first time watching this interview,
Oh,
it's a
God.
terrible way to do it.
Yes.
Because we're
Yes.
talking and pausing it like every 5 seconds. And
Listen, I got an extra muscle, and Vito's just trying to get rich. You know, he's just trying to get rich.
that's it. I'm waiting for my privilege to kick in. At some point, maybe.
Yeah, he's just trying to get rich.
That I disagree with, but that I'd like to sit down and talk about some of the ideas, and I consider you in that space. But before we get to the politics, I like the audience to know a little bit about the history of the people I'm talking about. So can you just, I know you were born in L.A., give me a little Larry Elder history to start.
Born and raised in L.A., my dad was a janitor. He cleaned toilets. My dad was born in Athens, Georgia. Doesn't know who his mother is. Doesn't know who his father is, rather. My name Elder was the name of some dude who was in his life the longest. My father was kicked out of his house when he was 13 years old by his irresponsible grandmother and was on his own from that point on. My mom grew up on a farm, kind of aristocracy for a black woman. She owned the farm. They owned the farm. Anyway, my dad and my mom got together and moved to California in the 40s. I have two brothers. I am, as you mentioned, a lawyer. Born and raised in L.A. and went to college in the East Coast, law school in the Midwest. Stayed in Ohio for about 17 years, came back to L.A. about 22 years ago, got into TV and radio, and I've been doing it ever since.
There you go. All right, so now we got the meat.
A dude that's actually been at every part of this country.
Yeah, different sections of the country.
He hasn't just been on the West Coast his entire life and is taking it just from the West Coast view.
Okay, fair enough.
He's seen
that's fair.
almost everywhere in this
That's
country.
fair. That's fair.
So Larry Elder's got one of the very rare few fair takes of no matter what he's talking about, he's actually has experience behind what he's got.
Respect. Okay. Respect.
He's seen the flyover country. He knows the farmland. He knows hard life. He knows the glamorous life.
At least he can give you different perspectives.
Exactly. But he actually understands those perspectives.
Yeah.
of
That's
what
the-
you do. Now, you're not a practicing lawyer, right? now.
Negative. No.
Yeah.
No, I did it for 2.5, 3 years, and that was it.
I find a lot of people in the public space either were lawyers at one time,
Right.
or I know there's a ton of comedians that were lawyers. What is it about lawyers? A lot of them want to get out. What's that about?
I'm not sure that's true. It's just a real flexible thing to do. You learn how to reason. You learn about the law. You learn about the Constitution. If you're a trial lawyer, you learn how to think on your feet, and it lends itself to doing other things. But most people I know who went to law school, at least the ones I went to law school with, stayed in the law.
Yeah. So was that a perfect segue to get you to be someone that talks for a living, right? Like instead of having to litigate it in a courtroom, you could litigate it on air and bounce back and forth with people.
my bad. I forgot to, hold on guys, I forgot to put the charger on the laptop.
Oh, yeah, we might need that.
Yeah.
We do
Oh.
not need this to die on us
Yeah,
mid-reaction.
just a second, y'all.
Because, man, we're going to get going on this. We
Yeah.
gotta finish up
Just
something. Where'd it go?
I just realized that. Let me get the charger in here.
Good looks, good looks.
Alrighty, come here. Outlet. Is it glowing? Yes, we're all good. Sweet. Just, there we go. Don't want it to die on us mid-recording.
Nope. Now we good.
Right.
All
Although
set.
most lawyers are not trial lawyers. It's kind of the image of most lawyers is that they're glib and fast. Most lawyers sit behind a desk and fill out papers. They're tax lawyers or constitutional lawyers or contract lawyers or something like that. Only about 10% of lawyers end up going to becoming litigators, and even a smaller number of those actually try cases.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
shit.
right, so now let's
Oh,
talk
wow.
about
So
conservatism.
that's funny.
Yeah, wow.
Most people, when they think of a lawyer, they're always standing in front of a judge. And that's
Yeah,
really
wow.
not the case with most lawyers. With about
Wow.
probably 80% of them are mostly sitting behind a desk doing paperwork.
Damn, that's kind of like, damn, you do all that schooling, and now
You know,
damn, you're not even in the courtroom like that? Damn.
puts a whole perspective.
That's different.
Let's do it. So I've mostly been calling out the left on my show because I consider myself part of the left.
Right.
And I've seen the left sort of really go off the deep end to the left, and I haven't been happy about it. So I haven't talked that much about the right. I've had a couple people on the right. So first off, how would you define conservatism? What do you think that even means at this point? In America in 2016, what is a conservative?
Well, I don't mind being called a conservative. Conservative. I don't consider it to be a four-letter word, but I really call myself a libertarian. I believe in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, which gives the federal government a small number of things to do.
Isn't that what you call yourself, a libertarian?
I don't.
Not a liberal,
I
libertarian.
don't ever really think I defined it. Cause I'm not a lot of my family is mainly registered as Democrats. I know that. There's a few people I know who are registered Republicans in my family. Most of my family's down south.
Mhm.
I know when I became 18, I know a lot of my family tried to get me to sign to register as Democrat, and I didn't want to register as Democrat because I didn't want to just be like, oh, the next black dude who's a Democrat,
Yeah.
I even as young, I didn't really side with either party, but I always felt like a more independent, like a different type of thinker. So I was like, what else is? At first, I remember growing up, I only thought there was a Democrat or Republican option.
No, there is a libertarian party.
I didn't know this. Like when they say there's only two parties, I looked it up. There's actually like 6 freaking parties.
Oh yeah, there's the Green Party. There was
Like,
the Green Party.
there's like it's just all the money either goes to the
Listen
Democrat
to how he
Republicans.
defines libertarian, and I bet you're going to be like, huh, yeah, that's kind of me.
All right, okay.
Listen,
I believe in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, which gives the federal government a small number of things to do, Dave. Mint money, put together an army, deal with the borders, a handful of other things. That's it. Welfare, health care, abortion, same-sex marriage, doctor-assisted suicide, all the social issues that the Supreme Court takes up, in my view, they shouldn't take up in the first place. That should be done on a state-by-state basis.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think most conservatives believe as well.
yep,
So
state by
I'm
state
with you on
basis,
a
not
lot
a
of that, and
federal
I definitely
basis.
have some.
I bet you almost agree with almost 90% of what he just said.
I do like the fact that I don't think the federal government should be in everyone's business.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not. I don't. I don't like that.
No, trust me, I don't expect you to agree with 100% of what he says, but I
Yeah.
bet you agree with almost 90% of what he
Yeah,
just
I
said.
agree a good part of what he just said. I can understand that.
Libertarian beliefs myself.
I think
why
most people are libertarian. They just don't know it.
Like you just said.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think you're more libertarian than you even probably realize. Most people are libertarian and they don't even realize it. They're not Democrat, Republican, or conservative. Most of them are libertarian.
Just, you know.
Most people want to do their thing and be left alone.
Yeah, don't tell me how to live my life.
Exactly.
You don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me what to believe in. Don't tell me what I have, where I can and can't go.
But too many people are used to that handout from the government, and then the government owns them.
Yeah,
I don't want to be beholden to nobody. I want to be able to earn everything that I have and not be able to
Yeah.
say they gave it to me. No. I earned it.
I don't.
Gave it to me.
I want to own my own shit.
Exactly. I'm not gonna own nothing to be happy. I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Yeah, I don't want my shit owned. I want to own my. I don't want my stuff to be owned. I want to own my stuff.
Yes.
The Founding Fathers were libertarians. The Founding Fathers drafted a document that said our rights come from a power other than individuals, and government doesn't give us our rights. We give government our rights and power, and
Exactly.
everything else should be left to the states.
Government forgot that. We give the government rights. The government don't give us rights.
I mean, that is why it's called informed consent.
Exactly.
A doctor can't just spread your can't disclose your information unless they have informed consent from you.
That's why we gotta get rid of these politicians that think that they're actual gods.
Like, consent is everything.
Yes.
If you don't have consent, then
But
bye.
technically, our consent is who we send, to Washington. But they're supposed to be there fighting on our behalf.
Yeah, you're not.
Not on. Oh, I'm there now. Now it's my beliefs. Screw who I'm representing.
Well, I believe no one
cares what you believe.
elected you for what you believe.
Well, technically.
They kind of did. Yeah, we take that back.
Technically, they voted for you because you said you believe what they believe.
But your mind isn't the same as like the whole state of.
You don't get to go there saying you believe what they believed and then flip on a dime.
Yeah.
And be like, all right, cool, they got me there.
They
Now
got me
switch it up.
Nah,
Nah.
it's not how it works.
And
The
if you do
people
that,
don't work for you. You work for the people.
Yeah, most people forget that.
Yeah,
most politicians forget that.
Like, nah, man.
You're a public servant,
You just
not
don't
a
want,
public ruler.
You just don't want to lose the incentives that come with being a politician. That's what it is.
Exactly. Do people taste a little bit of power?
Yeah, power. You can't give anybody power, man.
Well, power,
People get a little bit of it,
power
and it goes
corrupts.
right to their head.
Total power totally corrupts.
Yeah, humans can't deal with power properly.
That's why we need limited government.
Yeah.
And the individuals. That's how the Constitution was started. That's how the country was started. And I think that's how most Americans really feel when they really think about it.
Well, that's one of the funny things to me, and why I've defended somebody like Rand Paul, who a lot of people would say as a liberal I shouldn't be defending.
He's a libertarian.
But he's a libertarian,
Right.
so on issues such as legalizing marijuana or gay marriage, a libertarian, because you don't want the government in your bedroom, you shouldn't care about those issues. And as a liberal, I want people to do what they want and marry who they want. So that's somewhere where a libertarian and a liberal can really sort of join together, right?
I think so. However, you have people like Bill Maher running around calling himself a libertarian. Bill Maher is not a libertarian. He believes in higher taxes. He believes in a minimum wage. He supported Ralph Nader for government, who wants to take over businesses and have government run them. So a lot of people use it because it's a sexy kind of term and have no idea what it is.
Right, so that's the economic side of it.
Okay.
So
That
you
is true,
could
too.
sort of, he's liberal on the social stuff, and in a way, as a conservative, you're actually pretty liberal on the social stuff. Right?
Again, I believe that same-sex marriage, doctor-assisted suicide, all these kinds of things, abortion, should be done on a state-by-state basis. In California, we had two
So Black Lives Matter released their
I thought the power was doing that. I was like, what the
We put it in!
I was like,
million.
That's another one we're going to have to watch.
opportunities
Yeah.
to vote for or against same-sex marriage. Proposition 30 and another time when we voted on, I think it was called Issue 8 or Measure 8. And in both cases, I voted in favor of same-sex marriage. In both cases, I was overruled.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the idea that the majority of my fellow Americans or fellow Californians did not agree with me. I don't believe that I then go to the Supreme Court and cram it down the throats of the other states.
Right.
See?
Okay. So then that's the.
Just because one state didn't agree with something doesn't mean I go to the Supreme Court and force every state to do something because my state didn't want to do it, or wants to do it, and the other state doesn't. Whether you like it or not, it should be based off of the people that live in that state and are in that area to decide on major issues what goes on when it comes down to abortion, same-sex marriage, stuff like that.
You know, I just had a thought, but it might seem really dictatory, and I don't think it's good.
Well, what's the thought?
Because it's like, all right, so say if you're like separating, if you're saying each state should have its like own different shit, right? Like its own different laws. Like certain things should be decided on a state by state basis.
Well, states do have different laws right now.
Yeah. I'm like, isn't it kind of crazy how like to separate the state by like laws by different states, but then at the same time it's called the United States.
Yeah, but each state is supposed to be able to operate independently and work, and they pay into the union for protection, essentially.
Touche. All right, well, it wasn't too dictatorial. I'll take that back. It wasn't too dictatorial. Okay, that's good.
That's the whole point. You're supposed to be able to set your own laws within your state because the people that live within the state have to function inside that state. Stuff that happens, things that go on in Montana aren't happening in New York.
Okay, fair. Never mind.
I
I reached too far on it.
Same thing in Colorado. That's not happening out in the desert in Arizona.
Good point.
So you have to have different laws for different areas depending on not even just the geographical reasons. That's why in Nevada there's no speed limit, but going through
because it's different living conditions in each. Okay, never mind.
And it's the same thing why there's different laws in state why there's in different counties.
Okay.
Because and look at New York again. In Manhattan is a lot different than upstate New York.
True. Okay, so I wasn't too dictatorial.
No, that's not
Okay.
No, dictatory is saying that every state has to follow exactly the same law no matter what.
Okay.
That
so
would
I wasn't
dictator.
too dictator. Just
that would have been dictator.
Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't too dictator.
That's what he is saying. It should be major issues, especially on abortion and gay rights and stuff like that, should be done on a state-by-state basis. Why should Californians care about what Wisconsinians are voting on?
I mean, I see your point. You don't live over there, so why do you...
Just because Texas bans abortion doesn't mean California is. You see what I mean? That's the beauty.
I understand what you're saying.
You might not like what Texas did, but you don't.
I may not agree
live
with it, but I understand what you're saying.
You shouldn't have a right to tell Texans or Coloradans.
It's like people in Maine trying to tell people in Missouri how to live.
Exactly.
Okay, I guess I can understand. Okay, all right.
That's what he said.
You may not agree with their belief, but you can't tell them how to live.
Right.
Okay.
It's the same thing with.
I can understand that.
It's the same thing with Georgians and Alabamians. Why should they both live under the same laws? Just because they live next to each other, and they're in the same geographic area, they might have different beliefs.
I can understand that. Okay.
That's the whole point of freedom.
Okay. I can't get too mad at that one.
No.
I can't get too mad at that one.
But when you try to break it down like that, a lot of people on the left start going crazy and attack you. They don't even let you get to that point where we just got to.
I see what you mean. I get it, because like...
It
makes sense.
Even as something as simple as gun rights.
It makes sense.
Somebody that lives in the mountains is dealing with a whole different situation than someone that's living in the city. Unless you're living, unless you're in New York right now.
It's kind of like
it's the same kind of like right now.
It's kind of like if you had a state who's like, if we woke up one day and one state decided to be just devil worshippers, well, that's their state.
Yeah. You might not like it.
I don't live over there, but what can I do? You know.
But see, that's the best thing about majority rule for the state like that. You're never gonna have majority of Satanists.
Yeah, fair. It'd be a very.
But also, I'd rather. But those people should be allowed to spout their views.
Yeah, I see
So
what
we
you
can
mean.
be like, those are the crazies. Leave them over there.
I see what you mean now. Yeah.
If we start censoring and silencing them, nobody knows they exist, and then they grow.
I can tell you with this, I'm not with the whole censorship thing.
No,
I'm not with that. Because to me, eventually what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to tell rappers like, oh, you can't say this in your rap.
Ian,
Nah.
they're trying to sue Kanye for $250 million for stating a fact.
I mean, I'm just going to say that whole situation was very bad. That's what I'm going to say on it. I'm just going to say the whole situation was very bad.
But the stuff that he said about George Floyd was true.
The thing, you know.
You know he donated $2 million to his daughter's college fund, right?
Yeah.
And they're suing the man for $200. That's a whole nother story. Let's get back to this because that's a whole nother tangent we could go on. That's a whole nother tangent we could go on.
Yeah.
States' rights issue and sort of. So you would say that the Supreme Court is legislating from the bench or something to that effect?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that so you're basically okay with what happened. You just don't like how it happened.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like Rand Paul, because it sounds like you have a lot. Are you supporting him?
No, I'm not.
You're not.
I don't like Rand Paul because of his position on foreign affairs and defense. A lot of libertarians, and I don't think being a libertarian leads you to being an isolationist, although most libertarians are,
right,
for reasons that I think are kind of confusing. But Rand Paul is one of those guys who attacked George W. Bush for the Iraq War. I think we were justified in going there. I think that the reasons for going there were legitimate. And I think a lot of liberals are hypocritical on this issue too. You talked about how you chastise people on the left for being hypocrites. I'll give you one big one. The argument against the Iraq War is that George W. Bush foolishly wanted to impose our values on another culture, had no idea what the aftermath would be if we get rid of this bad guy, right? However, Obama comes into office. He joins with the British and the French in bombing Libya, getting rid of Gaddafi. Why? Did he threaten us? No. They did so for humanitarian civil rights reasons. Hillary recently at a debate was asked about why she did that. She said, well, so they could have free elections. Where was the left? Same thing with regard to Egypt. We get rid of Mubarak. He was a thug.
He's got a point there.
See, this was at a time when I was too young to understand.
That's when Obama blew up kids.
Yeah, because that's when I was in 08. I couldn't even vote in 08.
See, in 08, Obama went into office saying change. He's against wars. He's going to pull people out. The second he gets into office, I'm going to go blow up kids. Literally. The dude did a complete 180 on almost everything he stood for. But the media treated him like a rock star. The man could do no wrong. When there was a lot of stuff that was done shady and wrong. Do you know that more journalists in the history were silenced under Barack Obama? He weaponized the IRS to go after more of his political enemies than any other president in history.
No, I didn't know that.
That's how, you know how weaponized our alphabet agencies are right now? That all started, unfortunately, under Barack Obama.
Sometimes Ian's just speechless, you know? I'm just speechless. Huh.
The sad part was Barack Obama had a chance to do a lot of great things and turned his back on a lot of things that he said he would do.
I just know. I feel sorry for Andy when he's president.
Oh, yes.
Honestly.
Because you're put into almost a difficult position.
Yeah, I feel sorry for Andy. Like,
But you're the president. You're supposed to be able to stand up and talk to the unelected bureaucrats and be like, no. I'm the guy that was elected to be in charge, not you.
I see what you mean by that.
You guys advise me. I make the last decision. You can tell me what I might need to do, but no. I make that's the guy that's supposed to be in the chair. Not the, well, here, Mr. President, this is what you're going to do.
Okay, I see what you mean.
What do you mean, this is what I'm going to do? I was elected. No. Who the fuck elected you? Is what the guy should be saying.
I see what you mean.
Not be like, okay, what's the next thing I need to do?
That's a fair point. That's fair. I see what you mean by that, Vito. That's fair.
But they're all thugs. The Muslim Brotherhood comes in there, and Obama backs them. And the country's worse than it was before. And then Assad.
And is now backing the guy that took over after the Muslim
And then
Brotherhood.
Assad, for reasons that escaped me, Obama decided Assad had to go.
Yeah.
Why? These countries did not threaten us the way, in my opinion, Iraq did. Iraq was a deal after 9/11. 90% of the American people believed that we were going to get hit again. And this guy was stealing from the Oil for Food program. He was interfering with our patrolling the southern and no-fly zones. He had used chemical weapons on his own people. We know that because he used them on the Iranians. He used them on the Kurds. He had tried to assassinate George Herbert Walker Bush. He was a threat. And like it or not, at least we had a legitimate reason for going there, and he got the backing of both the House and...
Did you know all that?
Nah, see, this was the time when I was young. I was young.
I know, you were young.
Yeah.
A lot of it where you were very impressionable about what the media was probably telling you.
I think in 2008... I think it was like 13.
See, we had legitimate reason to believe that he had weapons of mass destruction to go in there. He didn't have nukes, at least. Thank God he didn't, because he probably would have used them. But he actually did use chemical weapons on his own people.
Shit.
He was being threatening towards the American people.
13. I think I was still. Watching Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I was still watching Disney Channel, y'all.
Gaddafi didn't threaten us like that, and neither did Assad.
Okay. I've heard about Assad. I've heard that.
That was Syria.
Is Assad a person or a group?
He's the person.
Assad
is the president. I don't know if he still is. He might be still is the president of Syria.
Okay.
But they said he was using chemical weapons on his people. They tried to use the same playbook that Saddam Hussein was actually doing.
Okay. I know we captured Saddam Hussein. I know we did.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
But see, we actually had legit reason to go into Iraq.
Yeah, because after 9/11.
We had no reason to go to Libya, no reason to attack Syria.
Okay. What was our rationale for? Just because we just decided to go over there?
Gaddafi, it was they made up some human rights thing for reason to go in there.
Okay.
And then, remember the famous we saw, he died comment from Hillary?
Yes.
She started laughing about how she killed Gaddafi. Yeah.
I think I remember that, yeah.
And then, Syria he was using chemical weapons on his own people. Which, I believe that was proven he was not. It was the gaslighting and the propaganda.
This is a lot to... Jeez, man.
Do you see how much that the media tries to manipulate and control?
Good,
They try to control and not want to get information out. It's a lot that can be thrown at you. And this is 6 years ago.
But at the same time, I'm not surprised that that happens.
No.
I'm not. Because it's like... Do you think there's ever some shit we should just not know?
Oh, definitely. Because there's some things that...
Like, I get free press, all that shit.
Yes.
But I think there's some crap I just don't think we need to know.
Yes and no, though. But if our president's being corrupt and stuff,
that you should know.
We should actually have investigative journalism and stuff like that. But the stuff of, like, where military bases are being set up and moving, no, we don't need to know.
We don't need to know that.
That stuff should be secretive.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Where we're at in our space program, the weapons developments that we're working on. We don't need to be known.
I see that stuff like put on the TV all the time. I'm like, why y'all putting all this out? I'm like, should we kind of keep this under wraps?
The stuff that they're putting out, they had like 20 years, 30
years. Okay, I just want to make
stuff that we know.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Imagine the stuff that the governments have that we don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Trust me, there's reasons that we don't know about things.
Okay, because I'm like this. I feel like this, like
because there's some stuff that if it fell into the wrong hands,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, maybe some things just people don't need to
But
know.
when it comes to how people are behaving and operating and who are running our country,
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Like, you should know who the corrupt people are.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I completely agree with you on that.
And the Senate. Obama did Egypt, and he did Libya, and he did
Forgot about
Syria
Egypt,
without
yeah.
the backing of Congress, and yet the left didn't say a damn thing.
Right, so
Hypocrites.
so I'm with
Okay.
you on the hypocrite part because
Okay.
there's plenty of video. I was against the Libya thing because at the very least, if we're going to have a military action, we should have congressional approval, right? So
I agree with that.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
100%.
I agree with that.
100%.
I do agree.
Because that means you have the consent of the people.
Okay, that's fair. I gotta give you that one.
Military action should even the strikes, even the drone strikes that Trump did. Everything should have been done through Congress.
Military action should. Yeah,
Yep.
I agree with you on that.
Anytime we're taking any type of military action, it should be done through Congress.
I can.
You can't say it about one guy and not say it about the other. Yes, Trump should have gone through Congress as well.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So
That's fair. That's fair, Vito. I agree with you on that one.
or they called it a kinetic.
before people in the comments are like, well, what about Trump? I said it already.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's what the president's supposed to do. You're supposed to be. You got to get the permission of the Congress.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are commander in chief. Once you have the permission to do it, then you go lead.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Military action.
Well, and beyond that, Libya
What's up?
did.
What's up?
Same thing Biden should have done
For what? For the.
when he bombed the guy that was getting water. The strikes when he in Afghanistan. Oh, right before the whole debacle when they pulled
Oh,
out
like
of
when we
Afghanistan.
left? Like
Oh
before
yeah,
we left?
the drone strikes when he went in there and they said it was.
Oh,
ISIS-K.
okay. I was like, what?
Remember-
Where were we in?
The ISIS-K drone strike that was.
Okay.
It was the guy that was bringing water to the troops. And he drone struck the
Oh,
water,
okay.
the guy's family.
Got you.
Yeah.
We were just talking about. I'm like, what fucking war? are we
So, yeah. But Biden should have done it too.
Okay.
He should have gone through Congress. too.
Okay.
Did
I'd
not
be
pose
so
a threat.
confused. I was like, what fucking war are we?
Yeah. The one that we're not supposed to be in.
Like, but it's,
That was the
I
Afghanistan
think
war.
there's
when
only
he was
one
gone.
war happening right now, the Ukrainian one.
No,
Right?
there's lots of wars going on.
I mean, like that's the main one we know about.
Yeah, that's
so
the one that's on the world stage. right now.
world stage every day. Yeah.
Trust me, there's lots of wars going on.
Oh,
to us.
definitely.
He had no WMD because he gave them up after we went into the war in Iraq. He was scared bleepless. He gave up the WMD, not to the United Nations. He gave it to us. They're under lock and key in Tennessee as we speak. So what was the rationale? And where was the left? The same people yelling and screaming about George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and neocons and nation building. Where were they? They didn't say anything. It's hypocritical.
Yeah, well, listen, we don't have congressional authorization right now, so I would assume by a lot of standards on the left, Obama is probably a neocon to them, right?
If they were being consistent, but they're not.
So, but what was the actual threat? I mean, so I'm with you on some of this in terms of.
I see Larry Elder's. People are not consistent with their energy.
Exactly.
Like, you got to be consistent
If
with
you're
your
gonna
energy.
exactly, you can't be up just because your team is doing something doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna call
I
out
see what
something
you're
on one
saying.
side, call it out the same way on
Yeah,
your side.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
That's why Tim Pool is one of my favorite people to watch.
Yeah, I can understand.
Because he'd call out something on one side, then his side would do it. He'd be like, "What the hell are you guys doing?"
Yeah, I see, that's fair. You got you can't just be mad at what you want to be. You got to
Yeah,
be if
exactly.
the same shit is happening on both sides. Keep the same energy.
You don't get to pick and choose when you get to be emotional.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That we all sort of pick our sides, and then our values suddenly change depending on who's in power. But
Exactly.
Yeah, I can.
Principled, you don't do
I
that,
can
and I consider
agree
myself to
with
be principled.
I consider myself
Exactly.
to be principled.
That's fair.
If you consider yourself to be a principal, your principles don't change depending on who's power.
That's fair.
You call
That's
them out
fair.
the same way you do, no matter what.
That's
you're,
fair.
You're happy when your guy's in power, but if he screws up, you got to say, "Hey, he screwed up."
Yeah, he screwed it. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Or eventually she, if she ever gets in.
Yeah.
as well. So everything that I've said in the past related to all this stuff still stands up. But what was the actual threat from Iraq? Look, I know that Saddam did horrible things, and you've laid out a couple of them. But what was the actual threat?
George W. Bush properly said that they were a grave and gathering danger. After 9/11, 90% of the American people thought we were going to get hit again and thought the hit was going to be bigger than 9/11. So George W. Bush looks around and says, where are the threats? We were still technically at war against Saddam Hussein. We went to war against him in 1991, and he promised to fully and thoroughly declare his chemical and biological weapons. He failed to do so. He violated resolution after resolution after resolution, and we feared that he would either use them himself or give them to a terrorist and use them against us and make 9/11 look like a picnic. That was a threat. We gave him 15 months to turn over this stuff, and he refused to do it. Bush went to the United Nations.
But then it did turn out that there were no nuclear weapons. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Right?
Actually, I disagree with that as well. I believe the weapons were there. We gave him 15 months to thoroughly declare what he did. In that 15 months, in my opinion, he got rid of it. And I'm not the only person that said that, Dave. The National Intelligence Director, our top spy, his name is James Clapper, he's in office right now under Obama, has publicly said he believes that Saddam Hussein did in fact have stockpiles of WMD, got rid of them during the 15-month run-up to the war. The Israeli Mossad feels the same way, and there's several other American officials that have said that. So I don't believe...
Did you know that? Multiple, not just our intelligence agencies, other ones from around the world have also said that he had them, and he destroyed them for fear of what was actually going to happen if he kept them. Because we would have unleashed hell if he actually kept the weapons of mass destruction, because the world was feared.
So we had them.
We always have them.
Okay.
We're the world superpower. Of course we have them.
Okay.
We're allowed to have them because we're righteous, apparently. But nobody else.
You know, I always don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to have Mad Max movie happening on nuclear war.
I know.
But I always I always thought it was kind of weird. Like,
do you know why we have them? Because we got them first. It's the only reason.
I mean, I get that, but
That's why.
It's kind of crazy. Like, anytime any other country gets like a super weapon, it's like we gotta disarm them. But then again, you don't want hella countries just firing off a bunch of shit.
What is the main thing going on right now? We're terrified that Russia's gonna fire a nuke.
Yeah, so
that's why.
I can understand.
That's why
you don't want shit like, because it gets to the point if there's like, say you got 10 countries. Okay, and all 10 countries just start firing off. That's some scary shit.
That's what would happen if Russia started hitting
countries.
But that would be terrifying if a country like Iran had a nuclear weapon, because they would probably actually use it.
Okay. Yeah,
you see a country like that is actually hostile and setting out terrorists to try.
Yeah,
not just on our country.
I can understand. You don't want a whole bunch of people just.
Yeah, but Biden's trying to give them a nuclear weapon right now. He's trying to work out a deal to give them a nuclear weapon.
Give who?
Iran.
I guess it's back to the drawing table. I guess it's back to the drawing table, man.
Obama tried to give them a nuke. Trump pulled out of the nuclear Iran deal.
Vito, we get some get a piece of paper, it's back to the drawing table, man. We're just gonna go back to the drawing table.
It's crazy. It's honestly awesome that you're sitting here laughing about the stuff that you're finding out that is real. Not just the not being like, there's no way this happened.
It's because Vito was like, when this shit was happening, Vito was pretty much grown. You guys got to remember, Vito's older than me.
Yeah, I voted for Barack Obama in 2008.
I was 13. I didn't have any voting rights then. I was like 13.
I actually believed that he was saying what he said, and then he completely went and turned his back on what he said he was going to do.
So it might sound like I'm just unknowledgeable, because I freaking was. I was 13.
Oh, he was.
What 13-year-old was paying attention to politics?
So of course, and as you got older, you're of course going to believe what was fed to you.
Yeah. So
it takes you time to feed through that bullshit.
Yeah. It takes time.
It does. Of course it does, especially when you're young and you're super into your values.
Yeah.
It's really hard for anybody to dig through that.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Bush got the intelligence wrong. We have 16 intelligence agencies. All 16 said at the highest level of probability that Saddam Hussein had stockpiles of chemical and biological weapons. Obama had the same CIA director who served under Bill Clinton, George Tenet. He said the likelihood that Saddam Hussein had chemical weapons and biological weapons was a slam dunk. And the same people that called George W. Bush a moron wanted him to go, so all 16 of you guys say that he's got this stuff, and you say he's got it, George? I'm just not feeling it, so I'm not going to do it. But he's a moron.
So would you say that this is one of the cases that part of the problem, and I think this is
you understand it? You had all 16 of our intelligence agencies telling George Bush he's got him.
The motherfucker probably got him.
And yet he's ridiculed the most for going in.
So George Bush is ridiculed.
Yeah, George Bush is looked at as a moron and an idiot for going into Iraq in the first place.
I just assume we went to Iraq because 9/11 happened.
Yeah, a lot of people assume that.
So that's part of it, not the whole thing.
That's part of it.
It's part of it, though.
Not the whole
thing.
thing.
Okay.
That's part of it. It was he actually probably did have biological weapons at one point. He destroyed them because he was terrified of what we would do if we found them. Even though he ended up getting executed anyway. That was his own courts that executed him, though.
Okay, this is just a ball of snow, just collapsing and
yeah.
releasing everything.
Oh, yeah. Wait till we finish the documentary, my friend.
Oh, God.
Through line through everything we're going to discuss for the next hour is that I don't know who to believe anymore. That's become a thing. So James Clapper, who you just mentioned, he's the same guy, the same CIA director who sat in front of Congress and said that we're not spying on Americans. Remember, and he was scratching the top of his head because, as they say in Seinfeld, when you're lying, you touch the higher up you touch on your face, the bigger the lie is. And he says we're not wittingly spying on the American public. We now know that wasn't.
Well,
the
what he
case,
said was,
right?
I gave the least untruthful answer I could give. But later on, he admitted it. And so, to me, as far as I'm concerned, he's a legitimately honest guy.
So, well, I guess he gave the least honest answer he could
Least
give.
untruthful answer.
Least untruthful.
Right.
But it wasn't. I guess, but it wasn't truthful.
Well, it was classified.
It was
classified. He wasn't supposed to talk about it.
But all right, so without
fair.
getting too
Fair.
So
If at the time if it's classified, you can't. Yeah.
Even though they were spying on American citizens, which the government's not supposed to.
Yeah, I disagree with it. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is, I'm not disagreeing with the fact you just said. I'm saying they shouldn't do that. That's what I mean.
There should be actual probable cause. You should have 100% slam dunk reason for spying.
It's like when you go to arrest somebody, you have to have a reasonable arrest warrant to go arrest them.
Not just
or
to
search the place.
Not be like, this person over there said they saw it. They don't have video or picture proof, but they said they saw it.
They said they
saw it. We gotta go get him.
We gotta get him. No.
Oh no, not him. I thought it was him.
You shouldn't just don't spy on. Just don't spy on people. Damn.
Especially our government should be making sure that other governments aren't trying to take us, not spying on our.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Again,
man.
unless you have reasonable, actual intelligence, not manufactured fake
it's
intelligence.
It's called probable cause for a reason.
Exactly.
So, but do you think that's part of the problem, that we just don't know who to believe anymore?
No,
we don't believe our government officials. We barely believe the media.
Well, I have my own issues with government, but my problem with the Iraq War is that Republicans failed to say what I've said and defend it. Even Jeb Bush has not defended it properly. He was asked when he first started.
That is the big problem. Republicans don't know how to defend things when they're actually right about things. They try to stick to simple talking points. That was back then. Especially back then. And they came across as talking down to people. That's why Democrats were more likable.
I think right now, I'm not saying the whole party's like that, because there are some.
Oh no, there's a lot of great Republicans right now.
There are, but there's also a lot of them. No, I wouldn't say there are some of them. But it's. I don't even think it's so much. You can't say, oh, this party does this party doesn't do that, this party does this, but there is politicians in both freaking parties who it's like, y'all don't know how to rally people.
I disagree. There are Democrats actually rally people way better.
Yeah,
the Democrats, all they know how to do is rally people.
Rally's a bad
Republicans are terrible at rallying people.
Yes, I will agree with that. Yeah, I will agree with that.
Democrats, they can rally people.
No, I will give. I think
the first Republican that could actually rally people was Donald Trump.
Bro, I will agree with that. The Republican.
Donald Trump knows how to rally people.
Okay, here's the thing that I've realized, that I think the problem that the Republican Party has, y'all don't know how to like reach out to people.
Exactly.
You don't know how to talk to people.
They're learning though.
Yeah, you're like citizens, like you're like conservative citizens, like true conservatives don't give a shit about skin color, sexuality. They don't give a damn about that shit.
Nope.
But it's like the people that you guys put like for like you continue to vote for. It's like they don't know how to talk to people.
No. It's like all they know is like numbers, but they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all, yeah, you can't treat numbers, people, like stats.
No.
You can't.
And just reading off a bunch of numbers to people doesn't get the point across.
It doesn't, no.
Because it doesn't relate to them.
No, yeah. People, it's the same thing. Put it this way. If you want someone to vote for you, it's the same reason why people listen to certain artists. If they find that the music is relatable, it makes them want to listen to it.
Exactly.
It's the same freaking thing.
But the problem is nowadays, somebody hears automatically, oh, that's a I don't even want to hear what they're saying. They're a Democrat.
Yeah.
That person's a Republican. I don't even want to hear what they want to say.
Exactly. You have to learn how to, talk to people.
Matt Walsh has a documentary he was doing a viewing of his documentary at a college of What is a Woman, and there's people protesting that.
See, when the politicians don't know how to talk to people, then citizens stop knowing how to talk to people because they think because the politician does it, it's gospel.
Well, he's not a politician, but he's.
Well, I'm just,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But see,
God.
But that's the thing. He actually tries to talk to these people, and they don't want to talk to him.
See, yeah,
they just want to chant and scream.
Yeah, you can't.
You got to have a conversation and speak what you're.
Yeah, you can't be King Kong on the building, pounding your chest and shit, and expect people to call you logical.
If you can't actually make a coherent point, what's the point of trying to make a point?
Exactly.
Screaming at the top of your lungs about something gets nothing done.
Perfect music, perfect lyrical quote. NF. He said it perfectly. I don't mind taking advice or opinions from other people, but when you present it in an ignorant manner, it makes me not want to talk to you.
Exactly. 100%.
If you're going to talk ignorant or talk down to someone, it makes them not even want to be in the same room with you.
Not even close.
Because it already shows right there, you don't respect the person that you're talking to.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. That's why this dude is
like, you don't respect them as an individual. You just see them as an object to control.
Exactly.
Running. What do you think about the Iraq War? Well, I mean, honestly, if you can't even defend what your brother did, how can other people do it? Yeah. And so I think Americans have forgotten why we went there. At one time, 73% of the American people
told us this time.
Yes, it did. Last one just popped up.
Just popped up.
What is a woman?
Oh, this the dude you were talking about?
Well, you're at the Women's March. You must have some idea. Please, if one person could tell me what a woman is.
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that?
I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4. I host a talk show. I get
All right, let's
speeches.
get back into the video.
Seriously.
I was like, okay.
They literally could not define what a woman was. They wouldn't do it.
I guess it's an individual with a uterus. What's the acceptable definition?
A female human.
I feel like they're looking for more than that.
Yeah. It's a female human with the reproductive rights to be able to give birth to a child.
That sounds pretty good. I think if I was Vito, if I was your teacher, I think I would say that's an acceptable answer. I think that would be a correct on the test, Vito.
What does a woman eat?
I mean, you got breast, you got a uterus. You can give birth. I mean, is that what?
Acceptable.
I think that's. I think it's acceptable. I don't. Unless you're looking for more, I don't know what else.
Let us know in the comments below.
I don't know what else to add into that.
why you've gone to war. Remind people what the reasons are. And people have forgotten it. Now they have this vague idea that George W. Bush overreacted and went in there and deposed somebody because he just didn't like him. That's why we were there, and let's not do that anymore. That's kind of how people have given the Cliff Notes version of what happened, and it's unfair.
So what would you say to the people that would argue that ISIS wouldn't exist right now if we hadn't toppled Saddam? Because he at least had, for all the horrible things he was doing, and the Ba'ath Party was doing terrible things, and they were executing people and throwing gays off roofs and using mustard gas on the kids.
Wow. That's wow.
At least he was keeping a sort of lid on the actual craziness that we're seeing right now.
My problem with that is that we don't know what Saddam Hussein would have done had we not gone there. Even though we didn't find the stockpiles, there were two people that George W. Bush sent to find the stockpiles. One was named David Kay, the other one was named Chuck Dulfer. Both of them said, we didn't find any stockpiles, we screwed up. However, this guy was going to reconstitute his WMD program and reconstitute his nuclear program when the heat was off. So we would have had to deal with him anyway. The second thing I say is that President Obama pulled out all the troops because he ran in 2008 and said the Iraq War was a dumb war, we never should have gone there. Over the advice of Hillary, his Secretary of State, over the advice of his then Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, over the advice of his former Secretary of Defense, Robert Gates, over the advice of the Joint Chiefs, he pulled out all the troops. He was warned, if you do this, there'll be a vacuum. He did it anyway. Ray Odierno is a member.
Obama created ISIS.
Okay.
They tried to blame it
that
on
caught me
Bush.
off guard with that statement. Okay.
They tried to blame it on Bush. It was Obama that created it. When he pulled out all the troops out of Iraq who should have been there, he created a vacuum, which led to the most radical party rising to power. Like what Biden just did in Afghanistan with the Taliban taking back over.
Well, shit.
That was Obama, not Bush.
Guys, get your pens out, get your paper. It's back to the drawing boards.
Yep.
Of the Joint Chiefs, he just retired, and he gave a speech when he retired, and he was asked if does he believe that we should have left people there? He says yes. Had we done so, ISIS could have been dealt with. So in my opinion, however you feel about it,
exactly.
when Obama...
If we would have left troops there, there's no way. We didn't have to leave a battalion. But we should have left a presence. I don't like being the world's police, but in situations like that where you keep a terrorist organization that was terrorizing, look what they would have done. Look what would have been prevented if Obama would have just left a small contingent. He would have got the political win for leaving while still being able to protect the people in that region while that government and the country rebuilt itself properly. We all would have eventually been gone. But dude, we still have troops that were sitting in Germany. Why couldn't we have protected a country that needed actual protection when they were coming up? While they're trying to rebuild. Same thing in Afghanistan. Again, I'm not a fan of being a world police. But I am a fan of protecting the weak and the people that actually need protection when it's needed. Especially if it's not putting our troops in harm's way. If they're actually doing their jobs.
Do you want to keep doing that on this? We're at 124.
Yeah, we might as well keep going. Why not? We're only not even.
Obama walked in and inherited this mess. Yeah. He should have made it better, not worse. He made it worse.
So in a way, you're sort of.
But
blaming
I see
both
what you're
sides,
saying,
right?
Vito.
In that,
I understand.
Or I guess I would blame both sides. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I would blame both sides here in that we went to the wrong war. And then by Obama leaving the way he did, even though most of the Americans very clearly didn't want to be there anymore, and when he ran for president 7 years ago, that his whole thing was we're going to get out as soon as possible. But that then created the breeding ground for this, because we didn't leave in a sort of...
I'll go halfway with you.
Yeah.
We didn't go into the wrong war. We went to the right war for the right reasons. I think the intelligence was good, and I think the problem was when Obama came in, he wanted to get out so quickly that he did not realize what the aftermath would be. And I'm not the only one who said this. Robert Gates has written a book, scathing attack, the most scathing attack on a sitting commander-in-chief by a former cabinet member I have ever read.
Yeah.
And he even recently, just a few days ago, Dave, said that Obama's national security and foreign policy advisors are dangerously naive. They see the world through this prism that they want, which is why the Benghazi thing happened. The reason the Benghazi thing happened is Obama's running.
And that's scary when you have advisors that are only looking through one scope. When they have a thin line prism and they think that's their worldview. If you don't have people around you that can actually see bigger pictures than what is right in front of them, that's a problem. You shouldn't be having those types of people around you.
Okay.
It's like the rapper that all they have is yes men telling them.
Oh, okay,
They're telling them their shit is great.
Yeah. When really they trash and no one's listening. Yeah,
It's the same concept.
I see what you mean.
Same exact thing.
I see what you mean.
You need to have people in there that are going to challenge you on why you're doing something.
I see. Yeah.
That's why you need to have differing points.
It's like if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Exactly. Unless you're Elon Musk, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Jesus.
You walk in the room, you're like, God damn it, I'm the smartest man again.
Jesus.
In 2012, GM is dead, GM is alive, Osama bin Laden is dead, and Al-Qaeda is on the run. Therefore, Benghazi was not thoroughly defended because they thought that the Libyans were happy with us because we got rid of Gaddafi.
Yeah.
And so, they, in my opinion, the Obama administration sees the world through their prism of this ridiculous idea that if we are nicer to people and reach out with an unclenched fist, they will reach out in kind. The world doesn't work that way. We have bad people.
Exactly.
I can see that.
There are bad people in the world that take advantage of people who are being nice. If you try to be nice with your enemies and try to give them a little and make them think they're going to back off because they got a little, no. They're going to want more. They think they got them on the run. If your enemy started giving you things, thinking, okay, maybe he's going to leave me alone because I'm giving him something. If it's somebody you swore and hate and they're giving you stuff,
I'm going to question it.
No. If you're actually getting things that you want, aren't you going to want more?
Yeah, but I'm also going to question, like, if you know that I hate you, why are you giving me shit?
Well, exactly. It's going to put you on a defensive.
Yeah, it's going to make me like, what are you trying to do?
But you're still going to exploit that.
Yeah, you are.
You're going to keep getting it.
You're going to exploit it, but you're also going to be like, all right, what are you trying to plan?
Which is why it doesn't work.
That's it. Yeah, it's.
In
other words, it's not a win-win.
Exactly. It's actually a lose-win for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're helping your enemy, and they're still being even more skeptical of you, while still taking what you're giving them.
I see. Yeah.
Do you see how more dangerous that is?
The optics of it.
So now it's like you paying your bully, giving your lunch money.
They don't
to
look
him.
right.
It's like the school lunch buddy.
Yeah.
Taking the lunch money and then coming after school and getting another 20 from your dad.
Yeah, it don't look right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it don't look right. Yeah, it's disorganized. Yeah, that picture ain't perfect.
You're gonna be like,
yeah, no.
Why's my dad paying my bully?
Yeah, that's.
Who hate us, and we need to deal with it.
Right, so I'm with you on that part for sure, because look, if you think back to the big speech that Obama gave in Cairo, which was everyone said, this is the reset, this is we're going to be different, we're going to try to deal with people, less with bombs, more with discussion. I mean, the Middle East especially, but most of the world, we're in more of a precarious place now than
I don't think any part of the world is better off with Obama in. And I think that you look at polls now, George W. Bush left office in the low 30s. I don't think any president has been that unpopular in my lifetime. You look at polls now, more people like George W. Bush than like Obama. Obama's rating is at 45%. Bill Clinton's at this juncture, in the 7th year of his term, he was at 65%. Most Americans believe we're on the wrong track economically, and most Americans believe we're on the wrong track in terms of foreign policy.
Yeah, all right, so I don't want to get too lost in just foreign policy. So last thing on this is a lot of what you're saying sort of sounds like neoconservative stuff to me. Can you be a libertarian and a neoconservative? I mean, I know this is what you're getting to before. This is sort of why you don't like Rand Paul, but do those things seem like they have nothing to do with each other? And yet, I know that there's a lot of people that do sort of get what you're saying.
Well, the term neoconservatism to me is a four-letter word. It's a term that people invent to malign somebody's position. I see the world realistically. I think we have enemies. We need to deal with them. I did not believe, as you did just now pointed out, that we should have gone to war in Libya. I don't believe in doing anything unless it's consistent with our national security interests. When Jimmy Carter, for example, threw the Shah of Iran under the bus in the 70s, 70s. What was that all about? He did it because he wanted freedom. He wanted to liberate the people who were behind bars. The same people we now call terrorists, these are the ones that Obama forced the Shah to let out of prison, and they ultimately toppled the regime. What's that all about? It's not our job to impose democracy. It's our job to make sure that countries are not our enemies, our countries are doing things that are consistent with our own national security interests.
Yeah.
And that's my problem.
Right. So you don't
You
want a
understand that?
nation build. You want to do.
You want to make sure that pretty much that other countries aren't trying to destroy their neighbors, not actively try to control what they do within their countries. Let the countries run how they want to run, but as long as they're not being a threat to their neighbors, what they do inside their country, they do inside their country. You may not like what North Korea is, you may not like how they perform and act, but until he's aggressive towards his neighbors, there's no reason for us to do anything to him. Do you see what I mean? We may not like it, but there's nothing you can really do.
Yeah, that's over there.
Because the problem is, everybody looks at every situation from the lens of where they live. If we looked at every situation through an American lens, we should technically be, if you believe that way, we should be freeing almost every country.
I see what you mean.
So you shouldn't really look at it through that lens.
Things that you considered sort of defensive posture.
Correct. We went into Haiti, I think, during Bill Clinton's administration because they were having difficulties. Not our job.
I want to get this right, so I want to look at my notes for this. According to this, you are
after a natural disaster, sending resources for to help and come back. That's one thing, but propping up a country and building a country and making them profitable, that's not our job. That's your job as a country to build yourself.
I see what you mean.
As much as you want to be a humanitarian and help people and build them up,
I see what you mean.
That's not our job. It's our job to help as long as we're trading something of value.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't be hurting people in our help just to help other people in another area. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so
you got to take care of your citizens. And unfortunately, other countries have to be able to figure out how to take care of their citizens.
I mean,
that's how it needs to be. Otherwise, we might as well just find a way to have one world ruler and make them control everything. Which, no.
Yeah, no. Nah.
Black. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That is correct. Okay.
Not African American. That's not a term I like.
How come you don't like the term African
Ridiculous. I was born and raised in America. I've never been to Africa.
You said this.
Why am I?
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to be like, oh, no, it's African American. But then I got older, I was like, never been over there.
I don't have family from there.
I don't, we took like a DNA thing. I'm like, it said like, I forget what percentage, but there's a percentage from like Congo. I'm like, okay, I'm black, kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, most of our family comes from like, we're more European than African.
Yeah.
like a large proportion of our family comes from like Scotland.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, still black. Like I can't hear still black. I'm just black.
You're an American.
I'm American.
You're
Yeah.
American.
Yeah.
We're Americans.
Yeah. I'm not really.
You shouldn't
Never been to Africa. I can't. You know.
I'm an African American. Most of my people have been here longer than most of the other people in this room. Yet most people don't have a hyphen. I'm an Italian American, Greek American, Romanian American. It's an absurd term. It's a term that Jesse Jackson almost single-handedly crammed down the throats of our media. And after Jackson began to talk about why blacks should have some connection to Africa, all of a sudden, New York Times, LA Times, all of the media began using that expression. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't use the term African American that much because one time I had a guest on the show and I referred to her as African American. She said, well, I'm actually Jamaican. So, you know what I mean? So I guess that goes.
That must have been an opening moment.
Probably,
Because Because imagine being her. She must have been like, wow, I'm actually Jamaican.
It's kind of like Dominicans don't like to be called black. They say they're Dominican.
Or people from New Zealand being called British.
Yeah. Or don't call Haitians black.
Don't call
they say no, I'm Haitian. Like okay. It's like Tibetan. I think.
Oh yeah, the Tibetans.
Tibetans don't like to be called Chinese. They want to be. I'm Tibetan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Goes to your point.
And,
So,
I remember reading one time, Dave, somebody was given a description of some suspect who had done some crime, was running away, and he was described as an African American. How do you know where he was from? Could have been from Africa, could have been from Jamaica, could have been from Canada.
So
Yeah.
what do you make of that when someone like, because I know you really rail against Jesse Jackson and these guys on the left that use, and I want to talk a lot about identity politics.
Okay.
So the guys that use these phrases, what are they going for there?
Well,
what is the goal there?
The goal is to tell black people that we're victims, that discrimination and racism remain major problems in America when in fact they don't. And they want black people to vote for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party.
Does racism exist in America still? Yes.
Yes.
Is it a major issue in America? No. Does it exist? Yes. If it was a major issue, you wouldn't be allowed to go into certain bathrooms, drink out of certain fountains, sit in certain restaurants, and you'd be designated to a certain spot in a restaurant or on a bus.
Me.
Is there still racism in this country? Of course.
I think the
Major problem? No. And people would be being racist towards you on a daily basis if it was a major problem.
I guess I'm like Lil Wayne. I've never like.
But you see, if it was a major issue,
I can't.
You would be seeing it every single day.
Like I can't say I've ever full throttled encountered racism.
Even if it was moderately in America, you'd be seeing it at least, I don't know, once a month.
I don't put it this way. I'll tell you this. There's a lot of people who are uneducated about ethnicity and culture.
Oh, definitely.
That is a given.
But that don't make them racist.
There's a difference between because
there's a difference between ignorant and racist.
Yeah, racist means like you're just an asshole and straight to believe you're asshole as shit.
Exactly.
And uneducated means you're just unaware of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a difference. There's a big difference.
Exactly.
Party gets 95% of the black vote, and the reason they get it is because blacks are convinced that the number one issue facing the country right now is social justice, racist white cops, discrimination, systemic racism, microaggression, whatever new word they come up with, and it's a bunch of nonsense. The number one problem domestically facing this country is a breakdown of the family.
You just can't beat good weed. You can't beat legal weed. Hello comes right to your front door.
Bro, what the?
Beat that.
Dude, she's just chilling, bro.
And President
What was that? What?
Now that was an ad.
Honestly. Facts.
I guess now it's getting to the point where you can ship weed right to your house.
Yeah, like. Oh, man.
God damn.
Gee.
Obama said it. I didn't. A black kid, or a kid, not just a black kid, a kid raised without a dad, is 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crimes, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So you're far more likely to end up in jail without having a dad than you are because of a white racist cop.
Right. So, but you wouldn't not acknowledge that there are some systemic issues.
I love this
Give
part.
me an example. Tell me what you think the most systemic racist issue is.
This was the part that was in the documentary.
Can you do that? Can you give an example?
Not right now. Not in this current.
If it was a big issue, it would be right on the top of your head.
Well, also, I feel like I can't because I've never really had like engagements with police or the justice system or anything.
And to be fair, you've never said there's a systemic racist problem. You haven't really said that. But do you think there is a systemic racist problem in this country?
I think there's a systemic problem in how we're just freaking treating each other. Not
exactly. Exactly. Doesn't mean it's a racist problem. It's a way how people look at each other and view each other.
Now, on some real shit though, do you probably have some racist cops? Yeah. You got some racist teachers, You got racist people. Like, as Vito said, does racism like exist? Yeah. The country itself is not racist, because that's like saying the grass in your backyard don't like you.
Exactly.
Or like the stoplight stopped you at because you black. Like,
exactly.
Like, or like the trees outside don't like Hispanic people. Like, it's the country itself is not racist. I just think the reason why people say that is for so long you had racist people running it.
You did. I can't deny that.
Now, do they still run it? I don't know about that.
Well, let's listen to Larry Elder.
Yes. What is it?
Well, I would say that because black people in most cases, in many cases, were descendants of slaves, that racism as an institution, that it just, a certain amount of it just exists.
2015? Give me the most blatant racist example you can come up with right now.
I think you could probably find evidence that, in general, cops are more willing to shoot if the perpetrator is black
What's your data
than white.
What's your basis for saying that? Last year...
Well, look, I know a lot of people would say, look what's going on in Chicago.
I know what they would say.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them...
This is beautiful because he's prepared. He knows numbers like that. He knows exactly what's going on in these places.
My whole... I see...
But honestly, the sad part is, do you think a cop is more likely to shoot a black person than a white person? If they're both performing the same action? Or do you think the cop's going to shoot both people no matter what if they're performing the same action?
To my understanding, if you point a gun at a cop, it don't matter if you black...
I'm not saying pointing a gun. If someone reaches, if a white person's reaching or a black person's reaching, do you think the cop
Either one of you is getting shot.
Exactly.
It
doesn't matter the skin color.
Yeah, if you trudge at a cop, if you point a gun at a cop, if you reach at a cop, if you throw something at a cop,
you're getting shot.
You're getting shot. Now, if you do that and the cop doesn't shoot you, you are the luckiest individual on the planet. If you're pointing a gun at a cop and the cop does not shoot you, you are the luckiest person in that time of life, and just in society and all. You're freaking lucky as shit.
And your skin color has nothing to do with it.
You're lucky. But I tell now, if you do, maybe this is an extreme case, anybody who is afraid of interacting with someone on the basis of what they look like, of a characteristic of their physical appearance that they cannot control, something's wrong with you, not with them.
Yeah.
If you're a cop and you're afraid to go into a black neighborhood, something's wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you.
You don't need to be an officer. Maybe you need to take time, reflect, talk to different people. But if you are that afraid of black or Hispanic people, when there's a distress call in neighborhoods that are predominantly...
But you see right now, the sad part, I understand where you're going with that. Most of them aren't afraid to go into the neighborhood right now. Most of them are afraid of going into the neighborhood, doing their job, and then not getting backed up by the politicians for doing their job if something happens.
I can understand that.
Because the way the political climate is right now, that domestic call is going on. The cops get there, and the wife's outside, and let's say the husband comes out with a knife and is ready to attack it, and the cops shoot him. What happens to the cops?
Oh, why'd you shoot him?
People are ridiculing it, going at, you know what I mean?
Listen, man. I was a social worker for a year. Sometimes you got to send a cop into the fucking house before a worker can go in.
We saw it with the Michaela Bryant case. That was the girl that got shot mid-stab. Remember?
Is that the one where the two girls were fighting?
Yeah.
The girl pulled out the knife.
Pulled out the knife, and the
guy was hesitant, and then he had to.
The cop had shot her mid-stab.
Okay. Yeah.
And LeBron said that the cop was racist.
I mean,
when he saved...
If you swing a knife at a cop, man...
No. He was swinging it at the girl. And the cop saved the girl that she was trying to stab.
Oh, okay.
I remember
Okay,
now.
yeah, now I do. Okay. Yeah.
Because that's when like LeBron tweeted your name. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like what do you do if you're a cop? Let the girl get shanked?
So the
Like
cop,
what you just let the girl get stuck?
by most
like,
people's standards, they should have.
I mean,
that cop was not back. That's why cops don't want to go into.
I guess you're
do
supposed to
certain
just
things.
let the people get stabbed now. I don't fucking know, man.
That's a ridiculous situation.
Yeah.
The cop was 100% right there. What was he supposed to do? Let the girl get the girl and get killed?
Yeah, like, dude, honestly, to me, I don't want to see anybody get.
No, I don't want to see anybody get shot.
I don't give a shit who you are. I don't like people getting shot, man.
No.
It sucks.
But again, sometimes you have no choice. That's
Yeah,
why,
man.
Cops don't shoot to kill. They shoot to stop. Because if they shot to kill, Jacob Blake would be dead.
You know
what I mean? Most of the time, because they shoot for center mass, sometimes you do die from you put yourself in that situation.
I do think it's getting to a point where like you do got those crazy like extreme cases. Cops need to learn how to fucking talk to people, but then people also need to learn how to talk to cops too. Everybody gotta learn how to talk to people. We
gotta work on the stigma.
Yeah, we gotta
get these cops in the community actually knowing their community.
Yeah,
and honestly, you gotta start sending the cops. Got to get into the hood and dealing with the communities.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you have send a group of fucking 15, 20 cops to the hood and actually start talking and dealing with people.
Just talk to them. No one's saying like
you weren't gonna start a war.
Like, damn, you gotta talk to people.
You gotta do community events.
Yeah.
You got honestly, it starts with actually getting the children to understand.
Yeah, hang out at the high school football games or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to college events too. Mm-hmm. Like, college kids, like,
show up at the prom. Make sure the prom is protected.
Yeah.
Show the kids that they don't have to fear the police.
Yeah.
That you should see them as a sign of protection.
Yeah. You gonna get the dumbass high school kids who want to be drunk at the prom.
But we need to get community events where we get police meeting the people that they're policing.
Lord.
Because when you don't know who you're policing, you can't make a connection with them.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
shoot.
Them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black. About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where is the Black Lives Matter on that?
Exactly.
The idea that a racist white cop and shooting unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS. It's complete and total BS. And the reason for these so-called activists saying this is the assumption that racism remains a major problem in America. The media, CNN, especially MSNBC, runs down whenever a black cop shoots somebody, and it's some march on Washington. It's ridiculous. Black people, half the homicides in this country are committed by and against black people. Last year there were 14,000 homicides. I'm not talking about suicides. I'm talking about homicides. Mm-hmm. Half of them were black. 96% of them black on black of that 7,000. Where's the Black Lives Matter people on that?
Did you get that?
So there's
14,000 homicides in that year. 7,000 of them was committed because 96% of that 50% was black on black. 96% was black on black crime. When 20% of the population...
It's the fucking gang shit, dude.
It is.
It's the gang shit.
But when 20% of the population is committing 50%...
It's the gang shit.
...of the violent crime.
That's that's the thing that gets me. We're ready to burn some shit. Bro, we like, everybody, white people, Hispanic people, everybody's ready to burn some shit down. Mm-hmm. When, like, people of authority mess up. And, like, yes, should we hold people of authority accountable for when they mess up? 100% we should. But, man, when it comes time to the gang shit, black people, you're quiet as crickets.
That's why Black Lives Matter actually gave a shit about black lives.
Oh, dude, you're quiet as... Bro, you'd hear a pin drop with how quiet y'all are. Mm-hmm. It's like y'all just. But what gets me is y'all we treat it like it's normal.
And it's
and that's all just black white people do it too. We're just like, okay, someone got got for the rap lyrics.
No.
Or someone got for the gang shit. I'm like,
it's
someone
terrible.
just got shot. Like, I don't know if you know who the artist is, PNB Rock.
Yeah, wearing the chain.
Most recent, they shot this man while he was at dinner with his woman. Mm-hmm. And they shot him for his jewelry. Yep. And then, on the other hand, y'all add to the fucking fire another rapper. I don't know if it was Kodak Black or whoever. Some other rapper goes, oh, well, I guess his girl should just kill herself now. What are you, like, bro, what? 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 Dude.
But see, but that's why people wonder why there's such a... again, why do you think cops feel a certain way when they go into a certain types of neighborhood?
Dude, man.
If 50% of the crime in the entire country...
And if you look
homicides,
if you look at the rappers who get killed, it's all over bullshit that shouldn't even matter.
Yep.
It's like it's nothing serious. It's bullshit. It's the number one key that I see. It's jealousy.
Oh,
all y'all are jealousy and feel like because someone has something that you don't have. Oh, I have the right to take their life now. Mm-hmm. If you want their necklace, how about you get a damn job, make some fucking money, and get your own jewelry. Oh, you didn't have a hit song? Go fucking make one. Go work harder in the studio. What are you doing? Because what you don't get is whatever you rappers put into your music, you're influencing a kid. You don't even have to. You're influencing a kid who lives on the other side of the fucking country from you.
Sometimes on the other side of the world.
You're influencing them. So now they think, oh, my favorite rapper did this. I got to do it now. Mm-hmm. No.
That's why when there's so many rappers that rap about a lifestyle they don't even live.
But then it's really funny when you got the rappers who really grew up around the dangerous shit and they try to tell other people, don't do this shit.
It's not what you want.
It's not the life you think it is.
That's why you can tell the ones that glorify it.
Yeah.
The ones that haven't been.
There's the ones who glorify it, and then the ones who talk about it, who are trying to say, stay the fuck away from this shit. Yep. It's just good. It's not the life you want. And that's not to condone the violence at all. I appreciate the rappers who, if they're talking about in their songs, notice how in detail they're saying, this is not the life that you want.
And a lot of times you feel the pain from the fact
exactly.
that they're through it.
They've done everything to get out the life. It's just...
They're rapping about it because it's therapeutic.
Yeah. They got to talk about it somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Here's where you would say that this is purely...
You don't see rappers going to therapy, do you?
This is purely because they want ultimately for people to be angry enough to just keep voting Democrat.
That's
what I said the other day.
They just want to keep you angry.
Y'all people are angry. Y'all are angry and you don't know what the fuck you're angry at.
They're angry and they want to keep making you vote a certain way just because you're angry.
Just because someone on a TV tells you to be angry, that doesn't mean, like, if you're going to be angry, know what you're angry at.
You don't want to just follow the mob.
Yeah.
Just because you see a bunch of people running in one direction doesn't mean you should start running that way.
It's like protesting. All for protesting. An American value that I deeply believe in is essential to us.
Peaceful protesting.
Be peaceful.
Not
and please,
fiery.
For the sake of God, know what you're marching for.
Oh, yes.
Don't be, all right, y'all basic ass ladies, don't be standing there with your fucking Superwoman pose in front of for Instagrams. Don't be doing that shit. You look dumb as hell.
Mm-hmm. Just getting your photo up and then...
Yeah, like, just getting your photo up and then say, oh, hashtag Black Lives Matter. Sit your ass down, okay?
Right, and where's the evidence of a lack of social justice? When a black suspect is killed by a cop, believe me, the media is on it, people are watching it, and justice will, for the most part, occur. In Baltimore, where Freddie Gray was killed, Freddie Gray died in a van, I shouldn't say was killed, died in a van. Yeah. You have a city that's 45% black, City council is 100% Democrat. The majority of city council is black. The top cop at the time was black. The number 2 cop was black. The majority of the command staff is black. The mayor is black. The AG is black. And yet here we are talking about racism. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
So it's funny, I find myself caught in between this.
If everybody running the state is black, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I that's fair.
A little bit
That's
as a liberal,
fair.
where I want to always try to defend the other. So in this case, the other being black people, I'm always sympathetic to that. And that, yeah.
But sometimes, no matter how much you support somebody or how much you love somebody, they'll do some shit that it's like, I love you, I can't support this.
Yeah, it's like I got to step back on this.
Yeah, like don't bring that shit around me. I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life, but I can't support the behavior
It's like,
that you're doing.
I support this over here. That over there is all you.
Yeah, like if that's what you want to do, keep that shit away from me.
But at the same time, I hear you laying out a pretty solid case.
These are just the facts. I'll tell you something else, too. There was just a study, University of Washington, and it turns out cops were more reluctant, more hesitant to pull the trigger against a black suspect than a white suspect, probably because of the fear of being accused of racially profiling and the fear that the civil rights establishment was going to come down on them. So if anything, whites are more likely to be shot by a cop under certain circumstances than a black person. And in the last 30 or 40 years, the number of...
I get the rationale for it.
No, it was a study that actually came out that proved it. That's what he was just talking about.
Oh, okay.
He was talking about a Washington
study.
But the media won't talk about that because it doesn't fit their narrative. Cops are more likely to shoot white suspects because they know the media is going to come down and cover it as much, and they're more likely that's going to go unnoticed. A cop shoots a black suspect, news is all over.
No, yeah.
So what would you be more reluctant
You don't
to
really
shoot?
see white... You don't really see white people being talked about in the news for being shot by. You don't really see that. You don't. It's not there really. I got it. Yeah, it's not really there.
Of percentage of suspects killed by cops who are black has declined 75%. However, the percentage of whites killed by cops has flatlined.
Yeah.
And so, if anything, people are more concerned about shooting black people for fear that they're going to be called racist. And almost every one of these incidents, whether it's Eric Gardner in New York, who died because he was selling Lucy's and resisted arrest, whether it's Tamir Rice in Cleveland, who was twirling around the gun, whether it's Michael Brown in Ferguson, who had just committed an art.
I get it. I think the Tamir Rice thing could have been handled a little differently.
Yeah, definitely.
That could have been handled a lot differently.
But did you see the toy gun he was twirling around actually did look like a real gun?
I could see. That part, I get it because he was twirling a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe because I wasn't in the situation. But if I'm a cop and I'm rolling up in a park and I see a little kid just twirling a gun, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be hesitant to shoot the kid.
Yeah, you'd definitely be hesitant.
I'm gonna be very hesitant. I'm gonna be like, what?
What would people have been talking about if a kid would have blown away 2 cops?
Yeah.
What would have happened the next time somebody rolled up on, or every other time when they would have seen somebody? They're going to be shooting first every time if something like that would happen.
Yeah.
So that's
get like the Tamir Rice thing is heartbreaking
because it was a child.
Because it was a child, and
it was a toy gun that was found out.
Do I think the Tamir Rice thing could have been handled differently?
Of course,
it could have.
But honestly, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, like.
But it could have been. Of course, it could.
I think that one could have been prevented.
It probably should have.
That one could have been prevented.
But he's also talking about situations that occur.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, I understand.
Strong arm robbery. Almost every one of these incidents involves somebody resisting arrest. Why don't you just do what the police tell you? My dad said when I get pulled over, have my hand at 10 o'clock, have my hand at 2 o'clock, say yes, sir, say no, sir, make sure my paperwork is in order, and if I feel the cop is mistreating me, get a badge number and deal with it later on. If Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton...
Exactly. You don't give them a reason. If they're being a dick and an asshole, you get their badge number and you report them.
I think the only con about that is when you do that, so you're trying to file a report. Mm-hmm. There's like these cops who have like so many freaking I don't want to say lawsuits, files reported against them, mm-hmm. And it's like if you're a cop where there's like 20 instances reported against you, first of all, the department is not doing their job, because if you're an active cop with like 20 freaking complaints against you, there's something wrong with you as an officer.
Not necessarily.
You don't think so?
No, because what if all 20 complaints were dismissed?
If they're unsubstantiated.
As fake and there's something else.
If they're unsubstantiated.
And it could just be just because the cop does his job really well and the guy didn't like that he was doing his job really well. What if one of those complaints, he put the cuffs on too tight? You see what I mean with that now?
Okay.
So I get what you're saying.
Okay.
But it's actually got to be
like a
found infraction,
like a substantiated.
Right.
Okay.
If you actually have, if you have a cop that's been disciplined by the department more than twice, is what it should be. But if you have actual multiple disciplinary actions against the police, why is a certain cop? Why is he still in the force?
Yeah. Exactly.
Not just complaints.
Because if they're like.
Because I'm sure there's a certain cops that probably get complaints left, right, and center for every little thing.
Yeah.
They're a cop.
But if it's like you're clearly doing something wrong.
Right. To the point where the department had to actually discipline you.
Yeah.
Because you were found guilty of doing so, which that's even that point in this day and age where departments are so terrified they're disciplining everybody for every little thing. That even that's starting to get weary.
Okay.
We got to get to the cops still got to be able to do their job.
I see what you're saying.
But like he just said, what's the point of resisting arrest? Even if the cop is being a dick. Especially in this day and age, in 2022, every single cop, and if they don't, it should be a law everywhere. Body cams running. What they're saying and doing should be recorded on every situation.
And I think cops should not be able to turn them off.
No.
When you're on the job, that camera should be on the whole time you're on.
If the cop turns it off, automatic disciplinary action.
Yeah,
100%.
Because that just proved if you turn your camera off, that shows you're hiding something.
Yep. Unless you say before I'm turning this off to rewind to check footage.
Yes.
And you clearly say that you're doing it.
Or you're turning it off to turn it off for the day and go home.
Right.
When you're on the road.
Or if you say I'm doing a 30-second reset.
Yeah. If you're on patrol, that shit should be on.
Right.
Even if there was an incident and you just freaking shot someone, don't turn the shit off.
Nope.
No. Because you could be hiding evidence.
Yep. No. 100%.
I don't care if it's showing a dead. Honestly, I don't even care if it's unfortunately that you had to kill like a teenager or a cop or a young person. Leave the fucking camera on.
But see, that's a point where it can also save you now.
Exactly. Yeah, you need to leave that camera on.
Which is why zero reason to resist arrest.
Yeah.
Even if you know you're 100% innocent and they're making a wrong arrest because you fit the description of something.
Yeah.
Let them go through it. Yes, you might be inconvenienced for a day. You might get in trouble at work, but guess what? You got the police report saying these guys wasted my time. There's a reason you can get around all that. You can't be fired because the cops were detaining you because they thought you were something.
I'm not with this whole turn the camera. No. We're not turning the camera. No.
But this is a two-way street.
No, fair.
Just comply. Sit there. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to agree that you did something wrong, especially if you didn't do nothing wrong. You sit there and you wait for them to clear you. You got no choice.
Fair.
Being disruptive, angry, argumentative, and resisting, it just makes you look more guilty. Like you are the guy that they want.
I can understand that. I can understand, yeah.
Because everybody's going to say, I'm not the guy.
And honestly, cops are 100%, this is just my opinion, cops should be held to a higher standard than citizens. You're a position of authority, you have a badge, you have a gun, you're going to be held to a higher standard. Well, they should be. That's why they should have the immunity. Like, you're going to be, in any situation, cops are going to be held to a higher standard than the citizen that they're interacting with in any situation. Yes. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Yeah. Doesn't mean they're a higher person. They're held to a higher standard because of what their job description is. That doesn't mean they're above the citizens. It's just because what their role and their responsibilities are, they are going to be scrutinized more. It's just they're going to be held to a higher standard. Exactly. Yeah.
And Obama and the whole group of them told black people to do that, we'd have a lot fewer of these things to deal with. He's true though. He is right though. If Al Sharpton, if Jesse Jackson, if Obama would have said what he said, just comply, get their badge number, get it. Even if you have a dash cam recording in your car, always have one going. If more black leaders came out and said that, no matter what color you are, just do this,
Don't you think violent interactions with police would go down?
Most likely, yeah, yeah.
If Dr. Dre and Eminem and all these guys actually came out and says, "Yeah, I know it sucks, but if we just sat there and we just dealt with these guys, and if they're wrong, we're going to sue them and we'll deal with them later."
I can
prove that they're wrong. Don't give them a reason to shoot you.
I can see what you mean.
All right, so I'm with you. I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying here. So as a black
we sound like
conservative, you've laid out your case there.
But you haven't laid out yours. I asked you to name the most important example of racism, and you gave white cops going after black people. And I told you, gave you the facts for that. So that's nonsense. So you must have something else. What else is it? If you think racism remains a problem in America, give it to me.
Well, I think it remains a problem.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
It may not be systemic in that it's not like you're not being hired because you're black. There's no systemic reason, legal reason that exists, that kind of thing. But I think that racism as a general...
It's because it's the way people
I need some specifics. You gave me the white cop thing. What else? Give me another example where you think is a problem.
I love this.
Well, as a black conservative, tell me...
He's going in circle, but he can't give an actual specific answer.
And
it's the black guy asking for the...
It's because Larry Elder is looking for an area of workplace an actual systemic thing, such as when segregation was a thing.
But don't you have to have that to say that there's systemic?
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be an example of that to show that there is this?
I think here what Rubin's doing, he's using the general interactions that all people have with each other.
But even in the most general interactions, there isn't racism going on in most general reactions. In most general interactions with people, would you say there's more racism than not?
Honestly, I think it would depend on who you're around.
I'm saying, let's say in 80% of any interaction you come across on a daily basis.
On me?
You.
I don't see a lot of racism.
Even when you're looking around saying how people treat people, doing things, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. If you were looking around, seeing anything, wouldn't you say in most interactions on a day-to-day basis, you would say more likely than not that racism is not involved?
I would say, yeah, racism is, yeah.
So Larry's right. That's why you keep saying, give me an example then. Stop speaking in generalities.
But then when you see it, you're just like, damn, it sucks that person really truly believes that.
But the fact of the matter is, that's a rare occurrence. And every single time that happens, they're called on it.
I mean, yeah, 2022 is not like 1965.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. In 2022, if you see somebody being racist in the street,
they get mad.
Woman gets raped on a train, they're gonna let it happen. Someone's being racist in the street, the guy's getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, man.
Say the N-word on a train in New York and see what happens.
Oh, God. Even the white people whoop your ass.
A woman gets raped, you let that go.
Even the white people will whoop your ass, man. Because
that's my point.
No, even the white people will whoop your ass.
And that actually did happen in Pennsylvania. A woman got raped on a train. People just sat there and watched.
Honestly, if you just
sexually assaulted,
even if you just sat there and watched, part of me thinks you should be arrested because you kind of enabled it. You kind of.
I can never feel.
If you're just sitting there just recording that, you're kind of complicit in the crime.
Kind of.
How do you get people to come around?
You're the one who made the assertion that you think racism remains a major problem in America. I asked you to give me an example. You gave me white cops going after blacks. As far as I'm concerned, you didn't hold it up very well. What's the other argument you have? What's
Rubin, you don't got an argument right now,
dude. I don't know that it's systemic in the sort of macro sense.
I'm not mad. I just want to know what it is you're talking about.
That's exactly what. Believe me, that's 100% why I wanted to have you.
Blacks are not getting into school. BS. We have we have affirmative action. So a black person with an SAT and a GPA of X will get into a school faster and easier than a white person with an SAT or a GPA of X.
That's true.
And if going to school is a route to the middle class, you can make an argument that blacks have an easier route to the middle class. If you're talking about blacks about poverty, the poorer you are, the more accessible loans and grants are for you. The problem, the biggest burden that black people have, in my opinion, again, is the percentage of blacks, 75% of them, that are raised without fathers. And that has every other social negative consequence connected to it. Crime, not being able to compete economically in the country, being more likely to be arrested.
But see, here's the thing that sucks so much, that with the stigma of black people, like, you know that stigma you hear all the time, all black people don't raise their own kids. That's not the truth. You got white dads who don't do shit.
No, but it is true that they're 70% fatherless rate it's the single mother rate in the black community is 70%.
It just really sucks that you got dads who don't give a fuck. You got these. I won't even say dads.
No. See, you are right. It happens across the board on all colors. But the sad part is, it happens at a higher rate in the black community than it does anywhere else.
It's because you got a lot of dudes who just want to fucking go.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yes and no. The government also incentivizes
that too.
They incentivize the black community to be fatherless more than any other group.
Honestly, I just hate people's like.
I'm not trying to call you out.
No, I see what it's just to me, it's just, if you're going to make a kid, take care of the kid.
Exactly.
Don't leave somebody else to be like, oh, well, she's the mom. Okay, you freaking made a child with her.
I mean, don't you think your life would be a little different if you didn't have your dad here every day?
Oh, a lot different.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot different.
Even though your mom is awesome.
Oh, yeah, my mom, oh, shit. Oh, yeah, I love my mom. But, like, my life would be different if I didn't have my dad.
Your mom can't teach you how to be a man.
Nah. Shit, dad can't cook either, so
I would have been in trouble.
The struggle would be real, let me tell you.
Well, your dad had to teach you how to be a man.
Yeah. When I went to things about, like, it's kind of my dad who taught me about, like, the birds and the bees. Yeah. And then it was like.
But now imagine 70% of the people out there that don't have a dad, that didn't have the guidance. That's what he's saying, and unfortunately, in the black community, 70 to 80% of most families don't have the father in the household.
Yeah, it's rough. I was just.
And yes, it does happen against all.
I was just blessed and fortunate enough to have a father who gives a shit. Like actually cares.
You're in the 30%.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have grown up with two parents. I'm lucky.
And it doesn't have to be your biological parents.
Yeah, if
you were adopted, if you have two parents, if you have two people,
stepdad, mom's boyfriend, or some shit, like,
if they're willing to actually if they're willing to nurture you and actually want to be a part of your life, not just be a person that's in your life.
All respect to them.
Exactly.
Any person who's willing to, and that goes to stepmoms too. Yeah. Anybody who's willing to raise another person's kid
and call them as their own.
Yeah, respect.
100%.
That's the number one problem facing the black community. And when I hear people tell me about systemic racism or unconscious racism, I always say, give me an example, and almost nobody can do it.
So the family stuff. So I'll follow your logic.
He's right there.
Stuff. What can actually be done about that then? I mean, because that's a big
reverse the welfare state. In 1890, 1900, you look at census reports. A black kid, believe it or not, was slightly more likely to be born to a nuclear intact family than a white kid. Even during slavery, a black kid was more likely to be born under a roof with his biological mother and biological father than today. What's happened is we launched this so-called war on poverty in the 60s, where literally Lyndon Johnson sent people knocking on doors. I lived in the 60s, and people knocked on doors apprising women of their availability to welfare, provided there was no man in the house. And we went from 25% of blacks being...
So I see what you mean.
They incentivized it.
I see what you mean where the incentivized game.
Women can make more money if you don't have a man here raising your kid.
I see what you mean.
So the government...
Pretty messed up.
The government is the reason the black community has 70% fatherless rate.
Shit, can't rely...
The main reason...
Can't rely on them for nothing,
that
man.
would be the Democratic Party that did that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Born outside of wedlock and 65 to 75% right now. And you look at how much money that we spent on welfare, and the lines are parallel. It was a neutron bomb dropped on this country, not just on the black community, but on people in general. At one time, only about 5% of whites were born outside of wedlock. Now, 25% of whites are born outside of wedlock. I was in college in 1970, and there was a report called the Moynihan Report, The Negro Family, A Case for National Action. It's written by a liberal, by a man who became a Democratic senator from New York. And at the time, 25% of black kids were born outside of wedlock. He said, my God, this number is horrific. If we don't do something about it, it could get even higher. Well, fast forward, 25% of white kids are now born outside of wedlock. It is the #1 problem in this country, and what we've done, in my opinion, is we've economically incentivized women to marry the government, and we've allowed men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. And now we have this.
So do you
And the left has done this.
100%.
Right. Okay, so
100%.
do you think then that as a...
I agree
as a black
100%. It was incentivized by the left.
I see what he I see what you mean. I know this factor probably doesn't really matter, but it's like a lot of people think like marriage is the key to like keeping a family together. Some people just can't fucking be married.
No.
They can't.
The biggest thing to most families is having a father presence in your life.
Yeah. Now,
it's better if you're under the same roof.
Is it better under the same? Yes. But
just having a presence is more important than anything.
This whole thing of like, oh, you got somebody pregnant, you got to marry them. Don't marry someone just because you got fucking.
No, you can't do that because that's worse for the kids.
Yeah, because you're just don't marry someone out of obligation. Marry someone because you actually want to be with them and build a life with them.
Exactly.
And if you're just staying like two parents, oh, we're just staying together for the kids, you're screwing your kid up.
Yep.
You're screwing your kid up. Because kids aren't dumb. They know when mom and dad don't love each other anymore.
Exactly.
They know when you're fighting, and you're even trashy your parents if you're using your kid as a pawn to hurt the other one.
Any parents that turn the kids against each other
Yeah.
and use them as leverage, which
like
a lot do.
Yeah, that's
A lot
disgusting.
do.
That's disgusting. Sometimes co-parenting is actually the most stable thing a kid's got.
Yep.
At least they know both the person that they call mom and dad gives a crap about.
Right. And they're not just using them
Exactly.
to get at the other one.
Exactly. But I get with some single moms, I get it. If the father's that much of a deadbeat, I get why women say, fuck it, I'll do it on my own.
Yeah, I understand.
I get it. I get it.
understand that.
You can't just when it comes to a kid, you can't just wait around for mom or dad to get their shit together sometimes.
Because that kid needs guidance now.
And you can't pick and choose when you want to come into your kid's life.
No.
Be a father or get out. Or be a mom or get out.
Yep. 100% agree.
Like, honestly,
sometimes you do more damage.
Yeah, you're if you're gonna go in and out, you're just screwing up what your kid's perception of the world is.
You're hurting them up here.
Yeah.
Conservative.
And you're
that the
distorting
biggest
their
issue
worldview.
is
Exactly.
It's impossible to have this conversation. Right. Like the stuff we're talking about right now is rarely really discussed in the media. You know, you've written some books about it, and it's people talk about it every now and again, but we rarely have this discussion because, and this is where I will agree with you, that the left has made language such a problem, and everyone's so trigger-warned and safe-spaced that we're afraid that if you have this conversation, that somehow I'm going to come off racist.
That's not what
Triggered.
We don't have the conversation. We don't have the conversation because the left would then have to look in the mirror and go, Jesus H. Christ, look at what I've done. And they don't want to do this. I've had a radio show for almost 25 years. I've invited Jesse Jackson on.
Oh. Damn.
So a man who's capable of aggression but has it under control is a way.
Another smart guy.
50 times, 60 times. I've invited Al Sharpton on that number. Maxine Waters, another loudmouth black woman around here who's running around talking about racism. She won't come on my show either. They don't want to deal with these issues. Why? Let's have a conversation. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Give me your data. Give me your facts. Tell me what you...
That's fair.
Jesse Jackson won't even sit on her show. Maxine Waters won't go on her show.
That's fair.
Why would you be afraid to speak to another black man?
See, this is my thing. You can't talk shit and then not be able to take shit.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
If you're gonna have a view and spout off nonsense, you better have something to back up that nonsense.
Man.
Otherwise, you just come across as a lunatic.
Man. Yeah, if you're gonna dish it, you got to be able to take it.
Exactly.
Like.
God.
Yeah.
And I could quote the Brookings Institution, which is a liberal think tank, and the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank, and they'll both tell you that there's a relationship between crime and bad schools and going to prison and not having a dad. So this is not just a liberal kind of thing or a conservative kind of thing. It's a real world kind of thing.
Exactly.
And they don't want to have that conversation. I've never heard a reporter ask Obama about the connection between the rise of the single parent household and the rise of welfare spending. I've never heard anybody ask him that question, not one time.
Yeah.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, there's this desire not to have this conversation for fear that it then will cause you to rethink your assumptions. A psychologist would call that cognitive dissonance. This anxiety that you feel when you have had your assumptions challenged and you don't want to do it. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. So how then would someone like you, or someone that believes in the things that you're talking about, how do you wrestle away a little bit of the narrative from the Black Lives Matter folks? Because obviously
I tell the truth.
You care about the same things.
Of course
right?
I do. I tell the truth. I talk about the number one cause of preventable death for young white men is car accidents. The number one cause of preventable death for young black men is homicide committed by other young black men.
Committed by other young black men. That's sad.
Yeah,
that is sad.
That's pretty sad.
That a young black man's worst fear is other young black men.
Yes.
And a young white man's worst fear is a car.
Yeah,
that's sad.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Your worst fear should not be what you would perceive as your brother.
Yeah. This is okay. Speaking to the black community, this is why I gotta with being black, just because someone else is black, don't mean they're your brother.
Mm-hmm.
If you got all this gang shit going, nah, man.
But that's why a lot of crime happens in the black community, though, because you're very prideful. You care a lot about your reputations, and you have a lot of pride. You care a lot about respect.
I think that's just a fucking man thing.
It is, but it seems like especially in the black community.
Yeah, it's because for so long, black people have been told we're not allowed to show weakness.
So they feel like they have to defend themselves every time. Instead of being able to sit back and laugh at things that are said and talk through it logically and reason, they feel like they have to come to blows.
Yeah.
They have to instantly go to violence.
And then when people can't fight, they want to shoot.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to make it sound like a racist thing.
It's one reason why, like, when you look at if you in studying psychology for as long that I've been going to school, black people don't go to therapy because we just say, "Oh, we'll handle it."
And that has a lot of correlation to most men.
Yeah, sometimes when some shit is so traumatic in your life, you can't bottle it up. You don't have to talk to sometimes you can't talk to a family member. You have to sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than it is someone you know. And that's why you have therapists.
But see, the sad part is a lot of that comes to that is because of the slavery and what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Why black people feel like they have to defend themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not trying to speak for black people.
It's true. It's sometimes something happens so traumatic in your life, you need to go to therapy. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Therapists ain't freaking cheap. Let me tell you that they're not. But there are, as psychology continues to develop.
And just because you go to a certain therapist doesn't mean that's the right one for you.
Yeah, you have to. That's key. You have to find the right therapist for you. The first one you go to, it may not be the right one.
And it might be the one you with the rest of your life.
Yeah, you have to find the right one. You have to, and it doesn't have to be another black dude.
No.
It could just be someone who is neutral, doesn't judge, and just listens.
It could be some Asian dude.
It
doesn't matter.
Sometimes you gotta go to therapy, man. I'm a big believer in therapy and mental health. Sometimes you can't bottle shit in. You gotta talk it out, no matter how traumatic and violated it made you feel. You gotta get it out.
And sometimes having an outside opinion who has no bearing about anything you said is the best thing to get advice on.
Yes. Women got no problem going to therapy. Men, get your ass to therapy.
Men have a huge issue going
to therapy. Because it's your pride and ego and if I talk about it, I got a problem. Well, number one, you got a problem.
Well, it's also the stigma that you feel like you're going to be looked at a certain way if you talk about a certain thing.
That's why I'm not with the whole, if a man cries, he's weak. You going to tell me if your mama dies, you're not going to cry?
I cried, little baby. My puppy.
That's what I'm saying.
I lost my puppy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
still tear up when I think about her time.
Quit bringing this whole thing with, men are not allowed to show emotion. If your kid died, you'd cry like a child.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
You'd be bawling like a little bitch.
And if you don't cry for like when a loved one dies.
Let me clarify. I don't say bitch to disparage women.
No, yeah. If you're a man and you're like your mama or your child or your girl died and you didn't cry, I'm concerned about you, because like there's something wrong there. There's something wrong.
In my opinion, a little bitch is a male or a female, someone who complains about everything.
Oh yeah. You can be a woman or a man. You can be a little bitch about. If you complain about unnecessary shit, to me, you're bitching for no reason.
So we have to clarify for.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like. Nah. Yeah. And men can be hoes.
Yes, they can.
Yeah, like.
Most men are hoes.
Like, if you ain't sitting around doing nothing, but you want to complain about the world, you're a hoe.
I tell the truth. I give the facts, and the facts are racist.
Yeah. So facts are racist.
Facts are racist.
Right.
Hashtag facts are racist.
Right. So I'm friends with another black conservative, David Webb. You probably know him on Sirius XM, and he's a Fox News contributor. And I had been doing a progressive show a while back, and I was on with someone, and they didn't know him personally, nor knew that I was friends with him.
Right.
And they kept saying he's the token black guy on Fox.
Right.
Now I'm sure you get plenty.
Oh my
of this
goodness!
kind of thing.
Token, bootlicker, Uncle Tom, Sambo Tom, coconut as in brown on the outside, white on the inside, Oreo, same concept. The Antichrist.
Man, you got a whole list.
Because they've got to malign somebody like me. I am a bigger threat to their whole ideology than almost anybody else. A black guy who does not believe that he's a victim, a black guy who believes in hard work and personal responsibility, a black guy who doesn't believe in handouts, a black guy who doesn't believe in the welfare state, a black guy who doesn't believe in affirmative action. I am the antithesis of everything they stand for, and therefore I can't just be dealt with facts and rebutted with facts. I've got to be maligned. I've got to be cast away. I've got to be treated as if I'm Darth Vader. That's what the left does.
So that's interesting, and again, this is where I really struggled with.
He's right there.
The Darth Vader one just got me.
My guys on the left, because in a way that is actually showing.
It's racist. Of course it is. It's bigotry.
Right, because
I don't have the same right to have an opinion as somebody else. I've never heard Rush Limbaugh be called anti-white because he criticizes Hillary and the left. But I criticize black left people, and I'm anti-black. It's bigotry. It's racism.
No, the thing that I hear is if black people say something that's like different, it's anti-black. Yeah. But if white people agrees with a black person, they're a race traitor. That's the one I hear from white people. It's all you're a race traitor.
But if they disagree with another white person, they're not anti-white.
No, they're not anti-white.
They're anti-white.
No, it's called, you're considered like a race. Like if like in a lot of communities, like if Vito agreed with me, he'd be considered like a race traitor.
Yep.
It's
and if you agree with me, you're anti-black.
Yeah, it makes people just come up with dumbass labels.
Yep.
And it's
calling
ridiculous.
Somebody an Uncle Tom is as offensive as calling somebody an N-word lover.
Yeah. So when it comes to,
I'm not gonna lie, I have been guilty of using that of using the uncle one, the Uncle Tom one. I'm not gonna lie. I was younger. I was dumb for it. I'm older now.
We all do young, stupid things.
Yeah, like I've used that before, but then I realized I'm like,
hey, I trusted the Democratic Party at one point in my life, you know.
So
we've all done stupid things.
Like, if you don't evolve from your mistakes, you're not really living life.
Exactly. If you're not able to actually open up your mind and start actually listening instead of just yelling.
Yeah, then
you're never going to evolve.
You're just going to be mad at the world for the rest of your life.
Exactly. You're just going to be an angry little asshole.
Pretty much.
To the black community and politics. Mm-hmm. So I got you on a bunch of this stuff. The black community, in a lot of ways, isn't for some of the things that the Democratic Party is for, right? Because the black community, a lot of times, and it has a lot to do with the church, is more socially conservative.
The only thing that connects black people to the Democratic Party, in my opinion, is this notion of social justice and this notion that racism remains a major problem in America. Look down the list of things that black people like and support. Blacks are more pro-life than whites are. Blacks were more anti-gay marriage than whites were.
Trust me. Mm-hmm. The black people, I don't know why the hell we hate gay people so much. Technically, at one point, we were both oppressed people. Mm-hmm. Okay? I don't know why do you need to hate gay people so much. Like, dude, if you're black and gay, it's like a struggle to live in your own family. All right. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, you both have been beaten up for something you can't control. Okay? You both have been called abominations.
It goes back to your whole manhood thing.
Yeah, like, I don't...
You're looked at less than as a man.
Yeah, like
you can't be a man. That's...
Honestly, but here's the thing. A lot of y'all people who don't want to... A lot of y'all deadbeat straight dads who don't want to raise your kid, now you got the same sex couples who are manning up and raising your fucking kids, but then want to call and say, oh, you're not a real man. No.
Like, Dave Rubin's a real man.
Yeah. Who cares if Dave Rubin's gay? He's giving 2 children a loving home. Exactly. Would you rather have them just shipped around to different foster homes?
The left would say they should have been aborted.
I
know, but the left, but the left would say they should have been aborted.
Just give them the homes, man. You know, just give. Trust me, I've seen the foster care system. That shit's a dark fucking hole.
Oh, it is.
Now there are some foster homes that do a wonderful job, mm-hmm. But then there's just some people who they just take in kids for the check. All right. And they have no intention of being actual.
That's no reason to kill a kid. Just because there's some terrible foster homes doesn't mean that doesn't mean. All right, we're just gonna kill you now because you might go to a bad foster home. Can't have that. Okay. Gotta go.
Maybe we should ask the child, death or foster home. Maybe okay. Oh Jesus. Oh damn. Good Lord. But please don't take that seriously. It's a dark humor joke. Calm it down. Inhale, exhale, breathe.
One of the reasons this proposition passed here in California is because of the way blacks and browns voted. Again, I didn't vote that way, but it's the way a lot of blacks and browns did. Blacks want to be wealthy. One of the reasons Donald Trump is getting about 25% of blacks, which is 5 times, by the way, the percentage that Mitt Romney got, is because of Donald Trump's swagger and his being proud that he's made money. And in the inner city...
Wait, that's a really fascinating little piece right there. Because
one more quick one. This is really important. The Democratic Party is completely beholden to the teachers' union and vice versa. The union is adamantly opposed to vouchers, where the money follows the kid rather than the other way around. Inner city black women and fathers, and inner city brown women and brown fathers want vouchers. They realize the schools suck. I went to Crenshaw High School in South Central. Right now, 3%, that's not a typo, 3% of kids can do math at grade level. I'm going to send my kid to that school because I don't have enough money to send my kid to a better school. It's an assault. There's a program called the DC Hope Scholarship Program.
Exactly. Teachers, it's the unions that are against having the money follow the student, not the school. Parents should be able to send their kids to whichever school they want. And yes, that means the bad schools would eventually collapse. And they would eventually go out of business.
But you want your kid to have a good education.
Right. But
I see what you mean.
Any bad business should go out of business.
Yeah.
That it should include a bad school. If you can't attract a good teacher, that means you're a bad school.
I can understand that.
So the parent should be able to decide the money that's following their kid that is dictated through what we're paying our taxes for.
I see what you mean.
Be able to send your kid to a better school.
I see what you mean. You should be able to send your kid to the school you want to send them to.
Why should you have to send them to the shitty school that produces 3% of the kids that can do math? Why should I have to send my kid there because that's the jurisdiction I live in?
I see what you mean. Yeah, I see.
just because that school might close because they might not get enough students.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I'm sorry, that school needs to fail because apparently it's a bad school.
So, yeah.
Program where every year parents who subscribe to the program, and it's 4 times as many people want to get in as there are seats, will give kids about $10,000 to $12,000 to go to a non-DC government school. And every 2 years when it's over, Obama and the Democrats try to shut it down. And the reason they don't is a bunch of black parents go to the streets, have a press conference, start crying and say, oh, my kid's doing better. I can't think of anything more damaging to a kid's future is to send him to a school where it's a Crip school, where the kids are not learning, where a lot of them are not learning because they don't care, and where the whole level is now dumbed down to cater to the lowest common denominator in a class. And as a result, you have kids that have poorer SAT scores than they otherwise would if they had a chance to go somewhere else that challenged them.
Exactly.
And so inner city parents want vouchers. Young black people, when they're told about the benefits of privatizing Social Security, want to do it because 65 years old, blacks die sooner than whites do. And when you die, all your contributions to Social Security go poof, as opposed to being able to will it to your child. When blacks are taught about this, young blacks want the opportunity to put their money into an account that they can control, so when they get 65 years old, they have real money. So privatizing Social Security,
Doesn't that make more sense?
Abortion, same-sex marriage, all of these issues, blacks are really not in lockstep with the Democratic Party. But the Democratic Party has successfully convinced blacks that racism, this white cop, this is widespread, the man's out to get you, and vote for us and we'll deal with it.
Makes you think a little, huh?
It does make you think. I see what you mean. Damn.
Now you got one side that's trying to play some people. And don't get me wrong, the other side tries to play people too. But I'm talking right now in this day and age, today, there's one side that's actually trying to come across as making things better. And the other side just seems to want to run even further to the other side. I'm just saying.
Neither side is doing a good job.
2 years ago, gas was $2 a gallon. Dude, the Democrats have control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency.
Gas is still pretty high, I ain't gonna lie.
Life has gotten so much worse over the past 2 years. And the Democrats have been in control of all 3 branches. They have the majority in the House, and they have the majority vote in the Senate. And they blame Republicans for stuff not being able to be passed. It's not that both sides aren't getting things done. You have one side that has control of everything right now and can't get something done. They're making shit a lot worse.
Damn, man, shit.
So how much of this is a
I see what you mean.
Messaging problem? If I grant you all of that,
and they're talking about this 6 years ago.
Is just a messaging problem by the Republicans, because it seems to me, and I've said this several times, that someone like Tim Scott, who is a black Republican senator from the South, he should be a hero not only of the black community, but he should really be a hero of the left, right? Because this is a successful black.
He should be an American hero.
He really should be. I mean, he should certainly at the very least be bigger in the national debate. Why isn't he a bigger surrogate for whoever he's going to support? I assume it will be a Republican. Why is this guy lost in the scheme of things?
Well, it's the same reason that blacks vote 95% for the Democratic Party. He is considered to be an Uncle Tom. He's a Republican. He's a black Republican. He's some sort of unicorn. I don't know what he is. That's how they feel.
So then, what do you do? What do you do as a Republican to break this narrative? You know, I got it. You tell the truth. I got it. You tell the truth, but obviously there has to be something bigger than messaging here, because you're telling me the numbers, 90-95% vote Democrat.
It's an uphill fight. I mean, to me, there is a access of indoctrination. You have the media, you have academia, and you have Hollywood, all of which tell black people that they're victims. Most professors are to the left. The media certainly is all to the left, and Hollywood's to the left. And so you get up and you're indoctrinated all the time with things like social justice, inequality, the man's out to get you, we need a higher minimum wage. You name the left-wing policy, and you pick it up through osmosis. That's why when we first started the conversation, I said I hope to move you towards the center, and you said I hope to move you towards the center, and I said it's not going to happen because there's nothing you can tell me I haven't heard, but I probably can say some things your audience hasn't heard, because LA Times, New York Times, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, New York Times, you name it, these are all to the left. Whatever left-wing position, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear why, how, and where. But the other position you won't hear unless you watch Fox News or listen to talk radio, and a lot of people won't do it if you make them, if you pay them.
Right. So I hope it's clear in our 40 minutes or so together so far. When I say I'm on the left, I consider myself a classic liberal in that I stand for liberal principles.
John Stuart Mill type liberal.
Exactly.
That's not a liberal.
And I know in a lot of ways
that makes you a conservative. You're a Jack Kennedy kind of Democrat. He cut taxes.
Right.
He was a cold warrior. He liked hunting. He liked the Second Amendment.
So doesn't this show you how stupid the words are? So what I did at the top of the show...
No, it shows you how the Democratic Party has evolved to the left and abandoned principles. My mom was a Democrat. My mom was a Republican. My dad was a Republican all his life. And my mom stopped voting for the Democratic Party. And she said, as many people have said, I didn't leave the Democratic Party, they left me. She didn't like welfare. She didn't like the idea of rewarding people just because you had a kid and then giving you more money when you had an additional kid. She didn't like any of all of that.
Right.
And she started voting for George W. Bush her last two election cycles.
So it's really ironic that...
It's not messaging. It's the fact that the country in general has gone to the left, and the Democrats to a greater degree than Republicans have gone to the left. The country has changed, in part, in my opinion, because of immigration, including illegal immigration. People who are coming to the country illegally from third world countries like Mexico, they don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about limited government. They believe health care is a right. They're taught that in Mexico, they're taught that other places, and they come here in America, and they pull that lever for the Democratic Party, which is why, in my opinion, the left wants borders to be porous, because it changes the country. Right. Changes the electorate.
It changes the demographics and all that.
The Democratic Party has not won the white vote since 1964. The more white people there are in the country, the worse Democrats do. The more left-wing, the more people of color there are in the country, the best the left does. And so what incentive is there for them to police the borders? What incentive is there for them to shut down sanctuary cities, to stop catch and release? There isn't. In my opinion, there's been a very subtle and very diabolical changing of the mentality of this country by left-wing people, so that a state like California could never vote for Ronald Reagan as they did in the past, could never vote for Richard Nixon as they did in the past. You have New York and California, just write them off. And there's 10 or 12 states now that we fight over. Everything else is now written off. It's ridiculous.
So at the top of the show, when I was laying out some of the principles that we're talking about here, I saw classical liberalism falling into the conservative category, as you just said. And it's funny because while I consider myself a classical liberal, and we can lay out every liberal principle there is that I would defend, it's scary to me because we get so caught up in words that, I don't want to be considered a conservative because I'm a liberal. It's a scary proposition.
Right. Well, again, it's about limited government and personal responsibility. As far as I'm concerned, what you've told me is that you are really somebody on my camp, far more so than somebody on Bernie Sanders' camp.
Well, I'm liberal in that I'm for gay marriage, and I don't mind if you smoke weed in your bedroom. As a general rule, I do like lower taxes, but I think we could have a progressive tax at some level, so we probably disagree a little bit there. I do think you should, if you keep making more and more, and especially as you're getting into the dozens of millions and the hundreds of millions, we could have a progressive tax that would tax those people more. I'm not necessarily for the 90% tax that Bernie wants. So, some of the economics might be a little different.
I wonder, let me ask you, why is it that nobody gave Dick Cheney love? Because Dick Cheney had a more progressive position on same-sex marriage than Obama did. When Obama was still evolving, Cheney...
But Cheney didn't have it till he was out of office. So.
That's actually true. Obama originally didn't support same-sex marriage.
He was against it.
He actually, he changed his position on it.
Donald Trump was the first president that came out in support of gay marriage as a president. Before he was president. He was the first sitting president to come out first and say he was for gay marriage.
I saw a video where I thought Trump was against gay marriage.
Dude, he unfurled the rainbow flag on the CPAC floor.
Why did I say that?
Because the media wanted you to think he was.
Maybe I'm thinking of another person.
No, he was attacked, and they tried to vilify him in the LGBTQ community. He actually does not care what you do in the bedroom.
Yeah, same. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
But they try to brand Trump as something that he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
So that's, it's a little disingenuous what he did.
He still, years before Obama said he was in favor of gay marriage, said, I'm in favor of allowing states to determine this. He said that years before Obama.
Was that while he was in office, though? I don't think that was while he was.
All I know was years before Obama, because when Obama became president in 2008, he not only said that he was in favor of traditional marriage, he said God was in the mix. All of a sudden, years later, God's no longer in the mix. I don't know how God was in the mix 4 years ago, and then God got out of the mix. But anyway, the point is that Dick Cheney said that he supported same-sex marriage on a state-by-state basis, well before the left did, well before Obama did, well before Hillary did, got no love.
So isn't actually, well, that I think would just go to because politicians are pandering. I mean, I don't know that makes Obama any more of a liar than any other politician.
I see what you mean.
As much as they're all just pandering.
I'm talking about, I get you, but I'm talking about why somebody didn't give Cheney a couple of attaboys on that. I know that people on the left hate him, call him a neocon, and believe he was whispering in George W. Bush's ear and got Bush to do all sorts of bad things. But I would have thought on this issue, since the left considered such an important issue, I don't, by the way, that they would not have given Cheney a little bit of love.
Wait, you don't consider? What do you mean? You don't consider
same-sex marriage to be that big of a deal?
To me, it's give people equality, and then let's not think about it anymore. That would be what.
Fair enough. I'm just saying. I think the number one issue in this country is self-defense, and the number one domestic policy issue, as I mentioned, is the destruction of the family. These other things, same-sex marriage, war on drugs, global warming, I consider to be further down the list.
Yeah. So the war on drugs, you're actually for legalizing drugs, right?
I'm for the government getting out of it, both federally and at the state level.
Yeah, and that would do.
And interestingly, this may be a little boring for your viewers, but earlier in the 20th century, we had the war against alcohol. The Constitution was amended to fight the war against alcohol, and then it was amended again when we decided it didn't work. We've had since Richard Nixon this war on drugs. The Constitution was never amended for that. And I don't understand why people don't make the argument that it is illegal what the federal government is doing. Because in order to get rid of alcohol, Congress knew that they had to change the Constitution, which they did. Mm-hmm. There's no power, Article 1, Section 8, that gives the federal government the authority to wage a war on alcohol or a war on drugs. But to do the one on alcohol, they changed the Constitution and then rechanged it, but they never did that for the war on drugs.
Yeah, so how much of that do you think goes to...
I didn't even realize that technically the whole war on drugs is unconstitutional.
Yeah, because you can keep people in prison with it for it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Think about it like that.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if I was watching a movie on it one time or if I saw it in a book, but I forget who said it, but the quote was, America put a war on drugs and they lost.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, to me,
put a war against an object.
To me, I think you should lower the drinking age back down to 18, because if you can go to war and kill somebody, you should be able to have a drink when you come home.
Or raise the sign up to 21.
Yeah. I think if you can legally drink, you should be able to smoke weed. Mm-hmm. There's no logical reasoning for why marijuana should be federally illegal. I don't see the rationale for it.
It should be done on a state-by-state basis.
Now, it's now, if you're over here like a freaking drug kingpin and moving kilos of heroin and you get caught, you got to go do time. Yeah. People need to stop comparing heroin and marijuana.
They need to stop comparing fentanyl to heroin and marijuana.
Yeah,
it's 10 times worse.
Like stop. Like
fentanyl.
Personally, I do not think marijuana is a gateway drug.
Yeah.
I think it's not marijuana is not the problem. It's your curiosity.
Yeah.
Cause
if marijuana was treated like alcohol, it wouldn't be a gateway to anything, because there wouldn't be, I got this illegally, let me try this thing.
Alcohol's worse for you than marijuana is.
Yep.
You can die if you drink too much alcohol in one night. You can die from alcohol poisoning.
You oversmoke. You
just fall asleep. The weed's been around since Jesus Christ was on Earth. There's been no documented history of a person overdosing on marijuana. unless it was laced with some other deadly chemical. That's different. That's not
that
marijuana.
has just strictly THC in it. No.
Yeah, like if you're smoking synthetic marijuana, you're not smoking straight up. Like you're smoking a chemical.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No.
Black family has been affected. I mean, when you think about the amount of black people, black men especially, and minorities in general that are in jail, we now have for-profit jails, and a huge percentage of these people are in jail because of drug offenses.
Well, not that many, about 12 to 15%, but whatever.
You know what's actually funny about prison? The majority of people who are in prison are in there for non-violent offenses.
No, he just said 12 to 15%.
I could be. I swear to God, I saw this stat in college. Maybe my stat could be. I mean, it's not 2017 anymore.
No.
But it's not between the numbers. It's not between the dates of 2013 and 2017. I could be completely wrong. That was just the stat. The stat I saw at the time.
I think it's too high. I think it's higher than the.
I could be wrong.
I think he might have been just drug offenses, but
because of drug offenses.
Well, not that many, about 12 to 15%.
Drug offenses.
But
okay.
That seems pretty significant.
Whatever the percentage is, I think the war on drugs should be rethought, and we should deal with it as a health problem and not a criminal justice problem.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Because a lot of times, a person with a drug issue has a mental health issue.
Yes. So we need to stop treating it as a criminal issue.
Exactly.
More as a health
Get
issue.
them some help.
Yeah.
But the reason for the large number of black behind bars, it goes back to what I said earlier about the breakdown of the black family. And not being taught the right kinds of values. And that has all sorts of other social consequences, including a greater propensity to commit crime.
Yeah. All right, let's back up for a second because you quickly said something about Hollywood. And I know I follow you on Twitter, and you rail against Hollywood all the time. Basically, your argument is that...
It's like kicking a puppy, though.
It's become... and I can tell, you know...
It's not that difficult.
Right. So just the other night, you know, you were tweeting a little bit about the Golden Globes and the targets that Gervais was taking. Last night I saw you on CNN. Don Lemon, who I had on last week, was on the show last week. He was talking about Tavis Smiley, and you're not a fan of Tavis.
No, I've known him a long time. He doesn't preach what he practices. What he is a hardworking guy who came from Indiana with a big poor family and has done quite well with his life. And instead of telling people, bust your butt, do what I did, work hard, stay focused, it's the man's out to get you, social justice, racism everywhere. It's nonsense. Hollywood is an easy target because these guys, the Golden Globes, they've got these fine clothing, designer clothing and designer tux and their jewelry. They're all anti-Second Amendment, but they're all protected by armed security guard. How many of them plied into a Prius to get to and from the ceremony? I mean,
you're saying very few, I think. Is what
very few.
You're saying they were in big gas-guzzling...
Not a large number.
Limos, yeah.
Right, not a large number. And notice there were several Bill Cosby jokes. I think 3 or 4 Bill Cosby rape jokes. Not one Bill Clinton rape joke. Pourquoi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think...
But did Bill Clinton rape or not? I don't think you consider Monica Lewinsky rape.
That was well. There was also
because that was consensual, wasn't it?
There was the 3 other women. That remember that Trump had in the front row at the woman that Hillary paid off. Yeah.
I didn't hear about that one.
Oh yeah.
Was this when Trump was in office, or was this when Bill was in office?
This is when Trump was running. Oh, when Bill was. I think that was when he was a senator. There was 3 women that he had sexually assaulted.
Oh. I thought he was talking about because everybody knows the Monica Lewinsky.
Nah, it wasn't the Monica Lewinsky thing. That wasn't surprising to most people because of other stuff. But yeah, it was covered up by Hillary.
Listen, I ain't gonna say the Clintons are saints. I'm not gonna say that.
So yeah. That's why. Okay,
I was.
Yeah, it wasn't the Monica.
And then anytime someone says Bill Clinton, I automatically think Monica Lewinsky.
Everybody does.
Yeah, like
everybody does.
Because I think that's the thing that got so much freaking spotlight.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that a lot of them actually privately are supporting Republicans, or at least are voting Republican. But there's this idea that, okay, we're going to go on this.
You can't say it out loud.
You can't say it out loud.
Yeah, name one A-list young actor or actress who's an out-of-the-closet Republican. Just one.
Young.
They never get hired.
I mean, 20s, 30s. You can do it once you're Clint Eastwood. Once you're
Clint Eastwood. Once you've been on the earth for a while, and no one's gonna tell you shit.
That's not what he's saying. Once you have the status. Once you're so
yeah.
big that no matter what you say, it can be taken away from you.
Yeah, which is Clint Eastwood.
Right.
No one's. It's fucking Clint Eastwood.
Exactly. Nobody gives a shit what he is. You're gonna go watch his movie.
Because he's a good ass fucking actor and director. That's why.
Yep.
It's the same thing if Denzel Washington became Republican.
Yeah.
I'd still watch his movies. You can't tell me Denzel can't act. Like
John Voight doesn't count as young, right?
No, no, but somebody in his 20s, 30s, Jennifer Lawrence age star. Name one. There's got to be somebody.
Right.
They can't be 100% left wing, but they will not say so because they know they won't get parts.
Right, and you would say that's not necessarily because they believe those things as much as just the structures in place.
It's the bigotry in Hollywood. The open-minded, empathetic people, they're fine as long as you don't say.
It's the same thing if you're a rapper.
Yeah.
You come out as a Republican. It don't matter if you got bars or not. No one's gonna listen to you.
Look at the attacks on Kanye. Yes, he does have mental stuff going on.
Kanye making it hard.
But I know. But to be fair, how come Kanye is never referred to as a billionaire? He's always referred to as a rapper.
That's true.
They never say billionaire Kanye
true.
West.
That's true.
But when they talk about Bloomberg or they talk about Trump or anybody, they talk about Zuckerberg. They talk about billionaire Jeff Bezos.
They just say rapper. They say like rapper, producer, and real estate mogul Kanye. They don't
Kanye
just say
West.
shorten it to billionaire. Yeah, I see what you mean.
They do the same thing with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
They do the same thing with Dre. They call him a producer. They call him a mogul.
Yeah.
They call him a business mogul. But they won't call them billionaires.
Yeah.
Why? Why won't they call these black men?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And it's the mainstream media on the left, the Democrats.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I guarantee you, like, if Eminem got $1 billion, they call that motherfucker a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would. They call him just because he's a white rapper. They call him a billionaire.
Yep.
Damn.
Something that pisses them off.
Yeah.
And you say that you're going to support Donald Trump. You won't work if you're 20 or 30 years old. You won't.
That's true.
Lose jobs.
That's true.
So let's talk a little bit about first off, the time is.
And think about that. These are the people who are in charge of 80% of what we see on TV and in movies. And if you come out and you're 20 or 30 years old and you're a rising star and you say, you know what, I listened to Larry Elder's show the other day and I think I'm going to vote Republican. It's finished.
Oh yeah, you're done. You're done.
Now,
I mean,
you're done.
That's a problem.
You're done.
You're laughing, but should that be like that?
It shouldn't, but I still think part of it is when you're still 20 and 30, a lot of 20 and 30-year-olds give too much shit about what somebody thinks of them.
Well, it's not that. It's all, but if they say anything, they're not going to work.
No, it shouldn't be like that.
No.
It shouldn't.
You shouldn't be committing political suicide or career suicide because you have a political...
You got the rare 20 to 30-year-old group who don't give a shit what people think about it. You got too many 20 and 30-year-olds who give too much of a shit.
But if they're asked their opinion, they can't even give their truthful opinion.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. I 100% agree with you. It shouldn't be like that. If it doesn't matter how good of an actor you are, if you come out as a Republican, you should not even Republican or Democrat. You should be able to say if you have a belief in something. Yeah. It doesn't matter what line it falls on. Exactly. You should
say what you believe in and back it up.
Yeah. As long as you're still, if you're an actor, you're putting out the good movies for the directors, all this crap. It shouldn't matter what your beliefs are.
It should be the quality of the work you put out.
Yeah, exactly. Performance.
Yep.
Performance. If you're a shitty actor, no one should be hiring you.
Exactly.
Is that to influence the minds of young people to shape this country culturally? It is massive. There was a book called Primetime Propaganda by a young man named Ben Shapiro.
We're getting him on the show.
And because he looks so young and looks liberal, whatever that means, he was able to get on the record all these Hollywood producers, people that did Golden Girls, people that did Cops, and got them on the record saying, I would never hire a conservative. A conservative in this town will be screwed. A conservative in this town cannot make it. I intentionally put left-wing messages in my fare. I try to influence culture this way. Has them all saying this and has them on tape. And the book came out and it didn't make any difference. They didn't say, I'm sorry. They didn't say, we ought to rethink our assumptions. He interviewed Fred Silverman, who at one time was the head of ABC, CBS, and NBC, has Fred Silverman on the record saying a conservative cannot make it in this town. Now, if Hollywood has a great impact on how we think, on our culture, and you have this Gestapo essentially shutting out people who are conservative, what does that say? It's scary to me. It's frightening to me.
Yeah, well, messaging is everything, which actually brings this back
Doesn't
to what
that
you
make
said about
sense?
Trump.
If you're excluding one whole side and you're forcing messaging down, which is and it's feeding 80% of what you see.
I think the problem with it is you have a lot of, like, there's people in positions of authority, like actor, celebrity, whatever, yada, 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 who, well, I should say politicians. Or just people who have large social statuses. I think that you have some people who are conservative who have fucked it up for other conservatives because the people who are conservative and hateful have screwed it up for the people who are conservative and non-hateful.
But see, right there, you just confluted yourself. Anybody that's hateful like that, not a conservative.
Fair. You just have the unfortunate people who are assholes who say, oh yes, like the people who are truly racist, but who say they're conservative.
But they don't. People who are far right hate conservatives.
Okay, damn, I'm not explaining this right.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just. But
it's kind of like how people try to paint all cops bad.
Right.
Then you got the assholes who.
Most people. Paint
I'm not explaining
this. That's because most people paint everybody on the right as automatically they put them under the umbrella as conservative. But if you actually take what somebody who is anti-Semitic and hateful and like that, they don't have any of the conservative principles in those values.
Okay. I think that was okay. I wasn't explaining it the best way. Okay. Yeah.
Well, what you mean is that term has been misconstrued and it blankets all Republicans.
Yes. That's a better.
That's what you're trying to say.
Thank you, Vito. That's a better. My mind was working faster than my mouth was.
There we go. I got you, buddy.
Thank you.
Trump before, which I think is sort of fascinating, that he's polling better with the black community.
Yes.
Because he has this sense of swagger, which I think you could probably relate directly back to, rap music and stuff like that.
Right.
These guys they're not ashamed of their success. And that, so in a weird way, Trump is sort of doing the exact thing that you want to happen here.
I agree, but I think there's another big reason that Trump is scoring with black people. One of the most underpolled things in this country is how black people are pissed off about illegal immigration. When I was younger, there was a movie that came out in the 70s called Car Wash. Richard Pryor was in it, and George Carlin was in it. And it was about a day in the life of this car wash in South Central, not too far from where I grew up. Virtually all the employees were black. I defy you to go to a car wash in South Central now and see any employee who's black. Illegal immigrants have come over and taken over this business, and black people see it and they realize it and they are angry about it. And the Democratic Party, however, because of what I said earlier about trying to shift the electorate to the left, has, in my opinion, thrown blacks under the bus on this issue. And a lot of blacks who are aware of it are not happy about it. And Donald Trump's position on immigration resonated with a lot of black people. The other thing about Donald Trump that I think, in general, not just black people, is appealing to me anyway. And I'm not quite sure why some of my fellow Republicans are so adamantly opposed to Donald Trump. This guy, Dave, can self-fund. He doesn't need your money. Donald Trump was at a group called the Republican Jewish Coalition, and he was asked a question about does he feel that Jerusalem should be the undivided capital of Israel. His answer is not important. He said something like, I'm not sure, I haven't thought it through, and he got booed. And Donald Trump looked up and he said, I don't need your money. Now, there's a guy named Sheldon Adelson in Las Vegas. He's a multi-billionaire. Last election cycle, he gave Newt Gingrich $10 million.
A lot of money, yeah.
And a lot of people feel that but for that Newt Gingrich's attack on Mitt Romney and all the footage that he gave Democrats to use in the general election, Romney might have won. That's not the point. The point is he is a kingmaker. And right now he is trying to decide whether he wants to give money to Ted Cruz or to Marco Rubio. He has Las Vegas business interests. I'm not mad at him for doing something to pursue his interests, but the point is he expects his phone call to be returned. Donald Trump can say screw you to all these people, the people that get subsidies for milk.
And that's why they don't like Trump. That right there. None of them can use their money to influence a man like him. None of the kingmakers that can give $10 million to a politician and know they're going to go attack somebody and put their business ventures forth. Donald Trump can tell all those guys, screw off, I don't need you. And that's why they all turned on him. Because he wouldn't let them buy him. Almost every other politician through lobbying gets bought off.
Oh, I fucking hate lobbying. I do think the country and things would run a lot smoother if we didn't have lobbying.
Trump's the one guy that couldn't be bought off.
Like, to me, all lobbying is, you just made bribery legal.
But Ian,
that's all it is.
If you have a guy like Trump there, you can't bribe him.
True. Because for me, if me and Vito were driving down and we were doing something illegal driving and a cop pulled us over and we tried to bribe the cop to let us go, we're getting fucking arrested.
Exactly.
But it's okay for a big company to give a politician fucking $5 million for them to vote a certain way, and that's not illegal?
Exactly.
That should be freaking illegal. How come if me and Vito do it, it's a crime?
There should be no monetary involved in lobbying. If you're going to lobby, it should be you giving your opinion and trying to convince your way.
Yeah. Like,
there shouldn't be money involved.
I think that's absolutely ridiculous. If me and Vito bribe a cop, we're going to jail.
Yeah.
Cop's going to jail too for taking a bribe. But if a politician takes a $5 million incentive to vote a certain way on a bill, that's legal. That's how unethical is that?
Super.
Like,
but do you understand about Donald Trump?
No, I get what you're saying.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Even with his rhetoric and how he carried himself.
He does tell people to screw the hell off.
Because he can.
Yeah.
He doesn't need your money. He doesn't want your money.
Fair enough.
He might want to listen to you if you have good advice. If he doesn't want to listen to it, he doesn't have to. But he doesn't need your money to incentivize him one way or another. He can't be bought. And a man that can't be bought
can't be controlled.
Exactly.
I see what you mean.
So, like Trump or hate Trump, you can't control Trump.
I see what you mean.
Milk, the people that get subsidies for sugar, the people that get subsidies for this ridiculous product known as ethanol, the unions that keep Amtrak running. Donald Trump does not need their money. He does not have to take their phone call. So this guy can really do what should be done for the American people, which is to get all the crony capitalism and all these so-called special interests out of our government and get it down to the size it ought to be. Boeing gets money from the government. Google gets money from the government. Dutch Royal gets money from the government. This is corporate welfare, and the reason it happens is because they give contribution to the politicians who in turn then do their bidding. Donald Trump does not need their money. He is in a position to downsize the government in a way unlike any other politician I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a lot of irony there. What you're really talking about is that's truly systemic political problems.
Tell me about it.
The money and politics stuff. So
in other words, it's kind of like socialism for the rich.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's socialism for the rich.
Where we pay for it and get screwed.
So we're capitalists. The rich do fucking socialism.
Yep.
That's
all they want is to take our money.
Yeah, that's pretty
and
much.
Make it so
That's what it is. The middle class plays under capitalism. The rich play under a different set of fucking rules. It's socialism for them.
Not all the rich.
Not all of them. It's just a lot.
Most of them because they don't want anybody else to get power and influence where they're at.
Yeah.
But Trump wanted to make more people influential. He wanted to give us back the chance to be able to get to the billionaire status. And the Democrats reversed all that. Biden reversed everything that he did day one.
I mean, I just think everyone should, that's crazy. That's insane.
That's something that should unite everybody across the board about how messed up our system.
It should. I mean, right now, LA is going to get two football teams probably.
Yeah.
Oakland and San Diego and St. Louis are all vying to come out here. By the way, all three of them used to play here.
Yeah.
The Rams used to play here, Oakland used to play here, and the first LA Chargers, one of the AFL teams, started here, and they moved to San Diego. Now they all want to come back. Why? Because their respective cities won't give them hundreds of billions of dollars in tax subsidies. Why should a multi-billionaire get millions of dollars from taxpayers, who then in turn have to pay all this to go to the game and watch multimillionaire ball players?
Exactly.
It's BS.
Well, that's like City.
It's corporate welfare.
That's like City Field.
Disgusting.
City Field, where the Mets play in New York. It was funded partly by taxpayer money.
Right.
But meanwhile, the government's bailing out Citibank, who has their name on
the whole thing is ridiculous.
So the Trump thing, real quick. One of the things is in the first debate, the first Republican debate, about 3 months ago now, I thought the unmasking that he did was actually kind of amazing, even though I disagree with him on pretty much everything. But when they asked him about going to Hillary's daughter's wedding, going to Chelsea's wedding, and he was like, "Yeah, I give them money.
I give
they
money.
show up at the wedding.
I give money to everybody. I'm a business guy. I got to do what I got to do."
So in a weird way, even if you don't like, so for my liberal friends and my friends on the left, even if you hate the messaging and all the Muslim stuff and all that, even if you hate all that, the unmasking of the system, and that's why I've also talked about how Bernie and Trump have a lot in common, because the core of what they're doing is the biggest threat to the system, right?
Right. Bernie
That's
and
actually
Trump
kind of
have a lot
true.
in common in the sense that the establishment is scared to death of both of them.
Yeah.
But Bernie...
Yeah. But he's going to explain why Bernie was different but Bernie cowered to the party in the end. He kowtowed and didn't
Bernie's
respond.
actually Bernie's actually not that bad. It's just...
He is now.
Then he wasn't. He gave into the Democratic.
He kowtowed and he became. He stood for something and completely backed down.
He gave into the Democratic Party at the last. He had a whole... I remember when he was running, he had everybody fucking vote. Everybody was like, "Oh, Bernie, 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 Bernie."
He would have beat Trump.
He would have. He gave in... Well, his thing was... They wanted him to be the vice president. I think like the running mate for Hillary, I think it was.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. That was the narrative that came out after. No, they didn't. He thought he was going to have a spot inside her administration if he kowtowed because the Democrats said it was her time.
Oh yeah, it wasn't vice president. They wanted him. You're right. Yeah, But I was for a minute. I was fucking with Bernie strong, man.
I was.
I'm not gonna lie. I was fucking with Bernie strong.
I was with his messaging until you actually look deeper into his background. That he lost me a lot on his rhetoric, what he said about bread lines and actually being for socialism and being for communism. He actually went to Russia for his honeymoon.
Oh yeah, I'm not for communism.
He talked very highly of the Soviets. Talked very highly of Castro. He said bread lines were a good thing. There was a lot of his rhetoric that sounded good until you look deeper.
I was supporting his stance against fighting against Big Pharma.
Yes, I was.
I was 100% for.
A lot of the stuff he said sounded good.
Yeah.
Until you look deeper into what he stood.
Like it doesn't make sense why insulin costs so fucking much here, but it's like
which Trump was also against Big Pharma. It was bringing down the.
But like in Canada, you could get the shit for like $30 damn.
Trump was doing all that. You wouldn't be told that, but Trump was doing all that. He was bringing down. Big Pharma wanted him gone because he was killing their profits.
Like it doesn't make sense for insulin to be $200 fucking.
No, it does not.
It doesn't. It's like how many people have diabetes in this country? Like it doesn't make sense.
It's probably 40% or higher.
Like
probably way higher. Probably 60%.
Especially in the black community. Like, geez.
Bernie will make things worse. Taking over large corporations will make things worse. Raising taxes on job creators will make things worse. What Donald Trump wants to do will make things better.
All right. Well, I barely got to any of the questions I have here, which is a testament to you. So I'm glad we got to sit down. So let me end this thing on a little bit of the future. Where do you think this country is going in the next year? Do you? So I sense. Are you supporting Trump?
I haven't taken a position on anybody yet.
Yeah.
I will support whoever the nominee is over Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, certainly.
Yeah. Do you view Hillary and Bernie both sort of as equally, equally as dangerous?
Equally bad. I mean, when you've asked Hillary to give the difference, as Chris Matthews recently did, between a Democrat and a socialist, she couldn't do it. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chairwoman of the DNC, was asked the same question. She couldn't do it. And Hillary has gone further to the left because she's threatened by Bernie Sanders. She's now come out by talking about a surcharge tax on millionaires. She didn't do that before, and she's also come out on the left now on guns. She didn't want to do that before.
I gotta remember this was 6 years ago. This thing, yeah. I'm thinking like, wait, they're not running.
This was 6 years.
Yeah,
ago.
this was 6 years ago.
It's amazing because you
So
see what happened and then what Trump did for 4 years. Things got better under Trump.
I ain't gonna lie, the gas shit was cheap. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Gas a little too much right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Their positions are pretty much indistinguishable.
Yeah, and again, this may go to show why the system's just broken, because both sides in the primary process have to stake out these positions that they know that they're not going to govern by. Right.
Richard Nixon used to say, when you want to win presidency in the primary, you run to the right, and then when you run in the general election, you run to the center. That's kind of how it works. In the primary season, you have to run to your base and then kind of run to the center to try and get independence.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. I didn't expect we were going to agree on everything. We didn't. That's
why
fine. Maybe I learned a little something
all
here.
these ads for this midterms.
Maybe you learned a
God,
little something. I see a glimmer.
I'm ready for election day to be fucking over with.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Like God. Oh.
So did you move a little bit towards the center?
Well, I consider myself, as a classical liberal, I don't consider myself off the deep end left. And maybe I think in general, a lot of people on the left are starting to realize.
How do you feel about vouchers?
I think we should have vouchers. I think you should have access to vouchers.
How do you feel about affirmative action? How do you feel about giving a black person or a brown person additional points just because they're black and brown over some equally qualified white person? Are you happy with that? Unhappy? Don't care?
Oh man, now I'm being interviewed. All right. So yeah, I would say that I think at some time, at some point in America, there was a reason that it really did make sense because some of the more systemic stuff still exists.
Today?
And today it probably doesn't make as much sense anymore. I think you would agree with me on that, because that's pretty much what you just said.
I don't think it ever made any sense.
But that's exactly why I want to have these conversations, and why especially I think that liberals and libertarians should realize that we're sort of in the center together, and that there's a way to work together. So that's exactly why I wanted to do this.
Fair enough.
So all right. So I thank my guest Larry Elder. You can check out clips of the Larry Elder Show and more at LarryElder.com.
Well, damn. Wow.
Little bit.
Damn. Vito, longest hit video in history we've done on this channel.
Now this might come out in parts, depending on how he cuts it up. He might release this in 3 parts, 3 or 4 parts over the day.
The largest video file that can fit on Rumble is 15 gigabytes. So this might, if I can put it in one video, I'm just gonna put it in one fucking video, and then y'all can scroll through it however you want to do it. It's just going to take a long-ass time to upload. That's all. Yep. This is one you put on at the start of the day and just let it upload throughout the day.
This is just one where you sit back, enjoy a conversation.
Yeah.
You guys might agree with us. You might disagree with us. Hopefully you guys watch this. You share it. You show it to people. It's a conversation
now,
that's really good.
This one I can promote on social media. I can't promote the other one because it has Uncle Tom in it.
Exactly.
I can't promote. That's a trigger word. I have said, trust me, I have said that on Twitter before, and I got banned for 11 hours for doing it.
Yep.
So I can't
even pronounce
it. I tried to do it last night, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to get it.
Yep.
I'm not going to get kicked off again.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
So,
it's stupid.
Because this isn't really titled. I can just say Larry Elder interview with Rick Rubin. I can just say that.
Dave Rubin.
Oh, yeah, Dave Rubin. Damn. Not Rick Rubin, the producer. Jesus Christ. Good Lord. Confusing the Rubins. So yeah, I can just say Dave Rubin and Larry Rubin
Larry Elder.
Larry Elder interview. That way.
Did you learn something you didn't know before?
Yeah,
made you think a little bit about things.
It just further supports me. I am not for big government. Never will be. Mind your business. Get out my life.
Ian, you're more conservative than you realize.
I mean, I don't even.
You have conservative values and you don't even realize it.
It's just like...
But honestly, that's most people.
One thing I can tell you is just I'm not for like everyone saying, oh, we can all love each other in the kumbaya. you're not gonna fucking love everyone.
No,
in the world.
you're not always gonna get along on every little issue.
I think if even with me saying that's the one thing I'm probably will be considered the sellout in the black community or the hateful person. Like, I don't hate gay people. I think sometimes, honestly, gay people are nicer than straight people. And then sometimes you can have mean straight people. You can have mean gay people. You can have mean people.
Your sexual orientation has no idea.
That's what I'm saying. But I will say this, like, black, white, gay, straight, you can't go through life expecting everyone to fucking love you.
No.
That's not how the world works. Find your people, vibe with your people, and you will have a good quality of life, my man.
That you would think.
You would think. You know. But
go forth positivity.
Yeah.
Positivity
I'm all for positivity, peace, and mind your damn business.
You push through negativity, you're gonna get negativity in return.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
But guys, I hope everyone enjoys this.
Hope everybody stay to the end on this.
Like, comment, subscribe, blow us up. We are inclusive on this channel. So
always inclusive.
Yeah, for some of y'all think we don't like gay people and black people and what.
Nah.
I don't know where you getting that from.
We don't like stupid people.
I just don't like ignorance. Black people, of course, you welcome. White people, you welcome. Gay people, you welcome. Trans people, always welcome. I don't give a shit what you do with your life.
Honestly, stupid people, you even welcome.
Like, I don't give a shit what you do with your life. Mind your business. Don't mess with me. I won't mess with you. Fair. But
thanks for stopping. Spend the time with us today, guys. Hit that notification bell and give us a share because it does help the channel out.
Please don't do you.
Hey, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Later.